Hey everyone, you're listening to the official podcast of 4PlayerNetwork.com. Check us out at that address for everything you need to know about our community, monthly giveaways, and nightly live streams. You can even support us on Patreon at patreon.com/4Player. And last but not least, you can catch the live recordings of these podcasts every single Thursday night on our Twitch channel. We hope to see you there. Enjoy. I'm really running out of ways to start this podcast.
You just did, Nick! You just did!
So I figured I would just go with that. Oh my god. Welcome to 4Player Podcast, everyone. This is episode 540. My name is Nicholas Henderson. I am joined today by Brad Simons.
Hello, I'm tired.
Who is sleepy.
Yeah.
Sleepy Brad Simons. Nolan Hedstrom.
How's it going, everybody?
And Christopher Davis.
Hello, hello.
And it's a release week, right?
Yes.
We call this a release week. There's been several new releases. We're going to talk about Into the Breach. We're going to talk about Moss here shortly.
Well, hello to you too, Nick. It has been a while since I've been on this podcast.
I was getting to it.
How
you doing, Brad?
I'm doing pretty good. No?
I wasn't sure if you wanted to do all the banter.
A lot has happened since then, you know.
What's happened?
We'll talk about it.
Wait, what? I just gave you an opening to talk about.
Leave us fucking hanging there.
I mean, I've just been hanging out, taking care of babies, and doing the.
How's fatherhood treating you?
Oh yeah, pretty good, pretty good.
Are you ever gonna get that yawn out?
Yawning is part of his acting.
The yawn.
I think he's gonna start crawling soon, Henry, and that worries me.
Put a lead on him.
He's been eating oatmeal. He's been eating solid food, sorta, and that's going pretty good.
How's he feel about bell
Likes that
peppers?
a lot. Except he likes to grab the spoon and like yank it, and if you don't really hold on to it, he's just gonna shove it down his throat, and it's kind of scary. How's he do with what?
Bell peppers. How's?
No, he doesn't like those. He's never had one, but I know he doesn't like those.
I had a feeling that might be.
Brad's gonna like traumatize him with bell peppers as he's younger, so when he grows up, he doesn't like them.
He's gonna pelt him with bell peppers. This is a bad thing, and then hit him with it. Yeah.
He'll have no memory of the trauma. He'll just remember the thing
totally
that hurt
see
him.
Happening. Anything? What you've been playing a shit ton of video games. I mean,
Yeah,
to an outsider, it would seem that way at least.
I've done one thing since last I've been on the podcast, and I'm going to talk about that one thing.
Yeah, no, it's two things technically.
Well, yeah, no, but I've mainly been doing this one thing.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, not much.
What about movies and shit?
I watched a movie called Raw.
Oh,
did you like
that?
I was gonna go.
That movie is hard for me to watch personally because I don't do well. I'm very squeamish. I don't do well with body horror.
Well, the trailer was hard enough to watch,
and there's a lot of body horror in that movie.
I saw the trailer
but
15
you
times.
should watch it. It's pretty. It's
It's on my to watch.
It's fucked up, but it's.
Well, the thing is, I don't know if you knew, Brad. I know you haven't been listening to the podcast too much, but Bernard and I were doing watching all the Marvel movies.
No.
and now you're fucked.
Oh, I watched Black Panther.
Why am I
too.
fucked? We're fine. We're like 2 weeks behind, I think, but this next weekend she's off. We can watch 4 movies, whatever. But the last 2 movies we watched were Iron Man 3
Ugh.
and then Thor the Dark World.
Thor: Dark World. Yeah.
And now you want to stop.
Yeah, so Iron Man 3, not as bad as I remember,
Nah.
but definitely not
Still better
a
than
great
2, I
movie.
think.
I mean, it's kind of interesting that they address PTSD in it. But
No, that's one. No, so sorry. Tony Stark has some of the best moments in that movie.
Oh, there's that fucking kid though.
Yeah, that kid's an annoying
Yeah.
piece of shit.
Wait, which kid?
In Iron Man 3,
I know, but-
there's like an annoying kid who bugs him when he lands in
Oh,
Tennessee
that's
or whatever.
right.
That's
Kentucky,
right.
wherever he goes.
I forgot about that kid.
But yeah, so then we started watching Thor: Why do I want to keep wanting to say Enter
Thor:
the
Dark World.
What is
The Dark World.
Anyway, but
Enter
Thor,
the Matrix?
That one movie that nobody remembers.
And so we start
never
watching.
saw it.
I knew I remember not liking it very much, and we were only like halfway through it. It is not that good, dude. It's just like I don't care.
Yeah.
And it's like it's Thor, and he's on what's
Ragnarok.
no, not Ragnarok.
Loki?
No, what is the city where they fucking live?
Asgard.
Asgard.
Valhalla's the fucking
Midgard.
afterlife.
I don't know what I'm talking.
Midgard is Earth.
I don't know what
so
I'm
they're on
talking about.
Valhalla and
They're on
sorry,
Valhalla?
God damn it, they're on Asgard, and Thor's all like bumming. I'm bumming, I miss Jane. And it's like fucking boring. Like, I don't care.
The difference between Thor 2 and Thor 3 is probably one of the best examples of the difference a particular director's like style can have on a movie.
100%.
Holy
did you know
shit.
that fucking Zach Levi was like one of his like friends in that?
No,
Did you know that
I don't remember
have no
anything
idea who
from that
Zach
movie.
Levi is?
What?
You don't know who Zach
No.
Levi is?
Really?
I don't.
He's an actor. He's been in many things.
I've probably seen his face. I just don't know.
Yeah.
Was he in Black Panther?
No, because he dies
You didn't have to tell me that.
in Thor Ragnarok.
I still don't know who it is.
Exactly. No, that's the thing. All of Thor's friends from the other movies like show up in Ragnarok for like 3 seconds and immediately die, and it's like, oh, great.
You know what? Thor Ragnarok? Damn fine movie.
We did
I
actually
remember
rewatch
Eomer is
that.
in the-
We did rewatch that. That is a really good movie.
Black Panther was pretty good. Although there's a lot of like CG and
You know
green
what?
screen
Dude,
stuff.
the
and
fighting
I
in that
read
movie,
I read a
it's
really
way too much CG.
really interesting article about the nature of like CG like special effects and that aspect of the industry and how it's all like incredibly underfunded and
I can imagine.
rushed
Oh, yeah.
and everything, and like it was specifically, the article was born specifically from them talking about how bad the CG in certain parts of Black Panther looked.
oh man, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that
Not to
movie,
mention how far outsourced it is. I mean, they get thousands of people to work on a fucking movie.
It was incredibly outsourced because that's the only way they're going to get it done
Yeah.
in the amount of time they've
Yeah.
been given to make it. Which I think, but like when you think of like of Civil War, I think is a good example. They do a lot of like just practical fight scenes,
sure.
and they're
Yeah.
fucking amazing. I'm kind of hoping in Black Panther 2, which is obviously going to happen, they kind of lean more on that. There's really no reason that needed to be.
Well, like,
that
no, hold on. Think of Civil War. That last fight between Cap, Tony, and Bucky.
Yeah.
Obviously, Tony's like a shit ton of CG because of Iron Man, whatever. But there's still a physical guy standing there that they CG over. I don't know if it actually was Robert Downey Jr. or not. But
There's a lot
that
of
was
scenes-
a fucking awesome fight scene.
There's a lot of scenes in Black Panther where I'm sure an actor probably wasn't even really involved because it's like completely CG. I mean, they might have some mocap stuff in
I
there.
kind of don't care too much about this Avengers movie that's coming out, but I saw a trailer for Ant-Man. That looks pretty good.
It does look good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping Deadpool.
With that
is good.
said, I think Black Panther is still a dope ass movie, and I can't wait to see another one or see that one again. That was pretty good. There is a popcorn cast out there. We did record a popcorn cast for Black Panther. Check it out. You'll find it at
well, it's
4playernetwork.com.
generally pretty positive.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was pretty positive discussion there, but yeah, there are issues with the movie. I think CG's being one of the bigger ones. The only thing I can think of that might explain why they use CG so heavily is that maybe the suit they have for him is actually like really hard to move in for whatever reason to have it to make
But
it.
also, they had to have it fucking glow all the time.
Because the only time you
Yeah.
ever see him like actively like moving around in it, it's very static scenes. As soon as action kicks in, it looks like it's all CG. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Hey,
not a movie podcast.
I don't mean to change the subject, but do you ever like see like some like black thing out of the corner of your
Where are we
eye?
going here?
Whoa!
And you think it's like Butters, but it's not Butters. You know what I mean? You see like kind of a black shape or blob in the corner of your eye, and you're like, "Is that Butters?" And you're like, "Okay, that's not Butters." But then you catch it again, you're like, "Is that Butters?" We do that shit with like something white and Manti sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I thought that was Manti, but it's like not even close to Manti, but it was white.
I don't. There's
You
not
ever
too
stop
much.
to think about what it actually is you saw? And
There's
like,
not
get
too
creeped
much
out?
around the house that fits that thing. I will say he does have a blanket that he like carries around sometimes, and sometimes I'll look over because he like out of bed and I'll think it's him, but he's.
I always
not.
find that funny. Like, it's like, oh no, that's a bag. That's not Manti. I don't know.
Thankfully, he's big enough.
That's not
that
even a
there's not
living
too
thing.
much that like I can mistake.
Yeah.
Oh man, you can tell we're really focused tonight when someone comes in the chat and says, "Is this the actual podcast or the pre-show?"
Yeah, we have a lot to talk about. Why are we not?
We do.
Yeah, let's
we do.
go.
I know.
Woo!
We've been catching up with Bradley.
Oh shit! Should I start with something?
Who's Bradley?
I know there's newer games, but
Well, we got to do feedback first.
Oh yeah,
that's right.
let's
We
click
do that.
over
You
to.
know
that thing. We have a lot of that.
There is a lot of it, and actually, to be honest, I feel like maybe I should save some of it for next week when Crispy's back.
yeah.
Because
We can save the Christy stuff for when he's back.
Yeah, so I will read your feedback if you're wondering, because I know there's a lot of feedback in regards to Crispy's discussion last week about aggro from Shadow of the Colossus. I'm sorry if we're not going to read it today, but we will definitely have it next week when he can actually hear it and respond to it. So I'm going to kind of pick the other ones out. Can you switch the tab over?
Please.
Tab so I can see the questions.
Sorry.
There it is. Yes. All right. Sir Thomas Thipple. By the way,
Thipple.
I'll say that at the end. Sir Thomas Thipple. First of all, he says, "Why did my question go unanswered?" I don't know which question he's referring to. I feel like he asked a question and then we completely derailed and didn't actually answer it. But anyways, he says, "But seriously, I liked the conversation about Shadow of the Colossus. Too often do conversations around that game turn into flating it to death and slinging shit at everyone who dares to levy even the slightest criticism towards it. It's a dope game, but the discourse still needs to be able to occur."
I agree.
Love
that
the show. Keep it up.
I think that happens a lot with some beloved games. I don't think that ever happens with Shadow of the Colossus because, like, from the get-go, that game was like fucked. You know, and it was way more fucked on PS2 than it is now. So like we were dealing with like, you know, weird, awkward controls but like at the same time like terrible frame rates and like and like it was really shocking back then that there was like nothing to do in the game besides like the whole thing. I feel like Shadow of the Colossus was always like not divisive so much, but like the perfect example of the game that's heavily flawed, but you love it anyways. Which means I think these conversations were always happening, and I don't think any Team Eco game has always been endless fellatio, like something like a fucking Red Dead Redemption or like Portal or something.
It's easy to feel that way though. I think especially if you weren't around when the game originally, if you weren't like playing games, if you were like say too young when the game originally came out, and then over the years, a lot of the discourse, as he put it, kind of like became quieter. And it just became this kind of like universal classic. That
I don't think the game's a perfect game by any means, but I do think. Yeah, I see that. Sorry, Nick. I'll fix it. I do think that when that game came out, it definitely was something for the time. Like if that makes sense. Like it was definitely an amazing game for when it came out on that console. So I think that's one of the reasons, Brad, that so many people love it as much as it did, was just because it was an amazing game for the time. Now, granted, a lot of people do look back with rose-tinted glasses, and because they only played it when it first came out. And if they were to revisit it, they might realize it's not a perfect game.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
but no one can argue that it's not a really fucking good game.
Yeah.
Let's get back to the other feedback. He had one more follow-up thought.
We don't need to cover that.
He used it.
Let's just go to this one.
Let's say, okay, moving on. Gonzo Lude says Butters is officially the best 4PP dog.
Shut up, Gonzo.
Manty and Hyde ain't shit.
Man, shut up. Manty's done fucking This Week on the Feeds. He can talk.
Nolan, you hear that?
Yeah.
He can talk.
Time to do This Week on the Feed with Butters?
All right.
No, I'm saying like there's been This Week on the Feeds that were just Manty.
That's true. Also, Hyde and Manty have done other wonderful things, like eating Chris Davis's burrito.
Wonderful things?
That is true.
What do you mean wonderful things?
That was one of the greatest moments of my life.
It's wonderful to the audience.
So mad.
It's like,
no, he pointed out before the show that like Chris Davis like, you never pet Hyde or Manty. He's like, that's because he ate your burrito. One of these days, Butters is gonna eat one of your burritos and you're gonna hate him forever. I can't wait for that day to come. Anyways, let's see. What did Chris Davis say about Final Fantasy 15?
Well,
Mr. Greentoe says, since everyone quickly shut down Chris before he could explain why Final Fantasy 15 is much better to play now than at launch.
So is every game.
Was that how?
I mean, keep reading. Just keep reading.
I wanted to share some of the free updates and patches the devs have added to the game. Wait, did that say excluding the DLC? Excluding the paid DLCs. All right. This is going to be a little bit of a list.
Just quickly.
But
go through it.
Added a new ability to drive anywhere instead of being stuck on roads. Mm-hmm. That's actually kind of nice.
Well, they have that off-road vehicle.
Keep going.
Change Chapter 13 to go much quicker while showcasing more.
Okay.
Added New Game Plus. Added in-chapter select after beating the game. God, all those things are great. Added several new outfits and themed events. They let you finally listen to the portable music player on Chocobo rides, as well as adding tracks from Nier Automata. That's random.
Square Enix published.
I guess.
So just quickly go through.
You're scrolling too fast.
No, it's fine. There's some of those whatever, added ability to swap and play as other teammates in battle, blah, blah, blah. All that being said, that doesn't change the biggest problems with the fucking game.
Which
Nolan,
that
were you
is
just waiting for me to
dumb.
get to it so you could say that?
Yes, like don't get me wrong, all of those are improvements. I won't
Yeah.
argue that,
Yeah.
but they aren't the improvements that need to happen to make that a great game. In my opinion, at least, I will preface that. I've talked about this game a lot. The problems I have with it can't be fixed in patches. Can't be fixed in
It's
major
character
patches.
work.
It's the fucking story. Character interactions and character development throughout the story. That this game was supposed to be about four bros.
I mean, it's,
That whole aspect of the game is boring as shit.
If
give-
the patch patched in like Final Fantasy Tactics, then you can improve
Stop.
it.
No, stop.
oh god. Whoa. Also, the devs are already working on a new patch that will add in a new dungeon, a first-person mode, a brand new in-game weapon, and letting you control a boat.
A boat.
And the PC version
how
is going
much-
to
I
have
don't know
mod
how-
support.
You're right. That is not my favorite Final Fantasy, and none of those will directly address the story. Although I did see something today about them wondering they were contemplating adding new endings to the game.
The ending
I don't
wasn't
know-
very good in my
I
opinion.
it could have been better.
Listen, who cares?
None of that's going to change the fact that Final Fantasy 15 is probably going to be one of the lower points of the series in the long
I mean, nothing
term.
will be as low as 13, but that's okay.
True, and they spent 2 games trying to re-win people's or like to be fair though, I think they kind of did a lot of good stuff for Final Fantasy 13 with those next 2 games.
Nothing better will come out of the second sequel to that game than Lightning Returns Final Fantasy 13 to GameStop.
Did you know that Nick
That game is my
actually
favorite
played
one.
and-
I know
finished
he did.
Final
but I'm
Fantasy
saying
13
that is the
too, and
best
Lightning
thing that came
Returns.
out of that game. That meme. Anyway,
I will just say this: playing both those games dramatically improved my outlook on Final Fantasy 13 as a whole.
Well,
looking
that's
back on it.
logical.
Also, I've been listening to the soundtrack for that game lately.
most Final Fantasies have
Final
pretty
Fantasy
good
13 has a pretty
Yeah.
good soundtrack. Anyways,
I mean, I'm kind of interested in buying 15 right now because it's $32 on Green Man Gaming.
Wait till it's like $2.
Or buy a better game.
Okay.
the metal.
Chris Davis, hold on. I'm not trying to be a dick. I'm being serious. Like
I'm
I
trying to
have,
be a dick.
I bought that game. Chris Davis, I bought the fucking collector's edition of that game.
Maybe that's
Okay.
why
Do
Nolan's
you
so
realize
angry.
how upset I was that I spent that kind of money on that game? And I was excited for it. I played the demo. The demo was fucking great. Everything I wanted out of that game, I didn't get.
You know what I think
Okay.
it was for me?
And I hold on, I'm not trying to be a dick. I'm just saying I don't want to say don't play the game, but I also want to say be prepared for what you're getting into.
Okay.
I will say this: I think that game has a unique feel to it that I don't know if it can sustain like an enjoyable experience for like whatever 40 or 50 hours, whatever it wants you to.
Mm-hmm.
But there is something kind of cool and whimsical and unique about the way that game, like the vibe or the
No,
atmosphere of that
definitely,
game.
yeah.
I just think maybe it kind of gets old after about 20 hours. Anyways,
Okay.
moving right along. The metal button says, after hearing the response from my question on your work experiences after podcast episodes, I have to say kudos for some of the sacrifices you idiots make entertaining the community during podcasts. Forever yours, the metal button. Again, I think he called us idiots last week on his question.
Yep.
Choice of words.
I think he was saying
It's
it
a
lovingly.
term of endearment. Idiot.
You're welcome, though.
You're an idiot
Brad
too.
didn't even go home from work today. He just
Yeah,
keeps screaming.
I really don't even know what he's talking about.
Do we want to talk about how I did that every day for fucking like
No, we don't.
like over a year, like a year and a half?
Not to mention the 2-hour commute.
Yeah.
Well, I have to kill a lot more time
Also, I didn't go home.
because I get off at 4.
I guess.
I also
Get
did the same thing, by the way. I would always go straight to Brad's from work on Thursdays before we moved up here. Anyways, the point is, you're welcome.
Also, I don't mind doing it.
Fourth Horseman says, and this is regards, we were talking about the DLC characters they added for Dragon Ball FighterZ.
Yep.
Yes, Broly and... Broly and Bardock are disappointing, but expected. Broly is too popular to ignore, and Bardock, well, he is Papa Goku, essentially. Also, Bardock is a Super Saiyan. When Frieza blows up the planet,
Okay.
Bardock is sent back in time. There he fights-
Whose fanfic is this?
I'm not done yet.
No, this was a
I
thing.
know. Keep going, Nick.
Bardock is sent back in time, where he fights Frieza's ancestor, Chilled,
Okay.
and turns Super Saiyan.
What are we
I
talking
believe
about?
it's insinuated that he is the legendary Super Saiyan. I thought Broly was the legendary Super
Okay,
Saiyan.
it's Brawly, and you know what? It's also Hercule. You know what? Put in Hercule, put in Videl. Give us some good fucking classic characters, man.
I mean, did my mic go out again?
Nope, it's good.
No, you're fine.
When did this thing with Chilled happen?
Super.
Oh, okay. Well, that's why.
I assume I haven't seen it, but
Because
I've
the
seen
only
everything else,
the only
so-
other relative, there's two relatives of Frieza I know. One is Cooler and one is King Cold.
Okay.
So
Not in my Dragon Ball Z.
that did happen in Dragon Ball Z.
That is your Dragon Ball Z.
Okay, this is one of the Shadow of the Colossus responses. I'll save that for next week's Scarecrow. So I'm sorry, I'm not going to read it this week, but we'll have Crispy on next week to answer
I
it.
don't think Oob is canon either.
No, that's because that's GT.
No, Oob is in
No,
Z.
Oob is in
Oh,
Z.
he's
in
but he. Oh,
He's
right.
in the
the
very,
last
very
episode.
end.
So stupid. Okay, sorry.
All right, actually, that's all the feedback we
Yeah.
have this week. Like I said, we'll revisit the Scarecrow's feedback last week, so Crispy can respond to it. Of course, if you have anything you want to say about any of the conversations we have on tonight's episode, please leave us a comment at 4playernetwork.com on the post for this episode, and we'll read it at the start of next week. Doing so also enters you in a monthly giveaway drawing. I'm going to announce the winners for both January and February at the beginning of the second segment tonight. So I'm playing catch up on that. But anyways, we will give away a free game every single month to someone drawing at random. All you have to do is get involved with the podcast by leaving feedback or retweeting the show when it goes up every week by basically helping us promote the show. Anyways, we have a lot to talk about.
We do.
We have video games. We got new stuff. But because Brad is here and he's been on hiatus for a while, I think maybe we should start with you.
What should I talk about?
But in the spirit of talking about something new, first, I still want to hear about Monster Hunter, because believe me, I still want to play that game. But why don't you start with the demo you played this week?
I played the Valkyria Chronicles 4 demo.
Oh, wow.
And I hear you've got good news for us.
Well, that largely depends. Do you like Valkyria Chronicles 1?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you want another game that's maybe kind of just like Valkyria Chronicles 1?
I have
Sure.
since for quite a while.
This seems very Valkyria Chronicles 1.
That's music
very
to my
good.
Like structurally, I mean, it's. Do we have footage?
Yeah,
Yeah, we do
you
have
got
footage.
30 seconds. Remember?
So the demo is a couple of battles, but it's all framed just like Valkyria Chronicles 1.
This demo is on the Japanese
This is just
PSN account, right?
Yeah, it's in Japan right
yeah.
now, but I think there's going to be a
Yeah,
domestic
yeah.
release.
I would imagine.
well, yeah. I mean, surely, right? I mean, like what most shit comes out here these days, right? And the big thing is that Valkyria Chronicles did really well when it came to Steam. So I really don't see how this wouldn't come out here, you know. But I don't know when. I hope it's.
Well, when is the game slated for release? Isn't that?
this month?
This month, yeah.
Are you fucking serious?
In Japan.
Yeah, in Japan, yeah.
Oh, but not okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Gotcha. I was like, holy shit.
Odds are this fall for over here.
So this game looks and plays, and like this game is so Valkyria Chronicles 1, it's scary. Which, you know, all the good and bad, not bad, but all the good aspects of Valkyria Chronicles that you wanted to kind of return that they couldn't do on PSP.
Yeah.
That stuff is back, you know, so it's got the big sprawling maps, you know, instead of the little pieces that were in the PSP games, which, you know, were honestly the biggest thing that held those back, is that they had these small little map pieces.
They had to
you know,
scale it down significantly.
And you didn't really get a sense of like how even what the battlefield fucking was.
Kind of felt
And-
like, always made me think of like Metal Gear Solid 3's boss fight with the end. That was like spread across like multiple maps.
Yeah.
I
and
mean,
stuff.
more like Peace Walker, but yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, like Peace Walker for sure. And like Peace Walker, you repeated maps and chunks of maps like a lot.
Yeah.
But here, like it's going to go back to the sprawling maps, and everything is very Valkyria Chronicles 1. The kind of how everything is framed, the story and the battles, where you kind of flipping through like a storybook, and like some of the boxes are cutscenes, and then the big map appears, and that's when you start an operation. Like it's so Valkyria
Wasn't
Chronicles 1.
there was also
It's
a big
like,
transition too in Valkyria Chronicles 2 and 3 where it
Listen.
was like
Listen, this game is as if 2 and 3 did not exist. And I'm not talking about from a story perspective. I'm talking about from a gameplay, a design. Like, it literally, this feels like the follow-up to this feels like Valkyria Chronicles 2. In a very good way, obviously.
Yeah, no.
But also in a bad way.
Oh.
In that I feel like the series took a lot. Now, granted, the demo might be limited. But everything is so resembling of that first game, from like the systems, like the very basic way you level up classes, which is literally just dumping an experience bar into like the scout, and y'all are so distracted. I'm
listening.
Like you have the different classes, and you just dump experience into scout, and like a meter fills up, and then that class levels up, and occasionally, they might get like learn a new what is it called, like a CO power or an order power. I forget forget what they're even called.
Yeah.
But that stuff that even looks the same. But like that stuff got dramatically changed and improved in the sequels. Like for as much as Valkyria Chronicles 2 gets shit talked because it's kind of like this, they're like school kids and it's an academy and it's a lot more anime, I guess, in terms of the presentation. Like everyone shits on Valkyria Chronicles 2 so much for that stuff, but it just ignores all the improvements in that the sequels did in making the series much deeper. Because if there's any problem I have with like the gameplay and the systems in Valkyria Chronicles, it'd be that I feel like a lot of those RPG elements and like grander strategy elements are very shallow. And if it wasn't for like the really smart map design and just combat scenario design, I don't think Valkyria Chronicles would be at that amazing of a game in terms of gameplay. Okay. So to see that it just pretend none of that stuff exists, down to even the new classes they introduced, which by the way were fucking dope. And they didn't just introduce new classes; they added like a lot more branches into how a class can like level up, and like there be a variation to like I'm gonna have a scout, but now this splits, and I can make it this type of scout or this type of scout, which are very different and have distinct purposes in battle. That shit's gone. I'm assuming
that kind of does suck.
I'm assuming.
Are we certain those new classes and features from Valkyria Chronicles 2 and 3 aren't going to show up at some point?
I mean, this game comes out in a few weeks, literally, and the demo is I can't stress enough. It's so Valkyria Chronicles 1. It's scary.
I mean, also,
which is not a bad thing. It's just like I've always been one to kind of say, listen, shut the fuck up. I get it. It's like Naruto, the story of the second game. That's why you fucking hate it. But like, you're throwing the baby out with the bathwater. Stop it. There's a lot of smart advancements here, it's like the creators of Valkyria Chronicles only heard those people, and they threw the baby out with the bathwater.
I mean, again, you don't know that for certain, though. I mean, this is a demo. Content.
There are very much certain aspects of it that I know for a fact are exactly like the first game.
Okay.
I mean, in like I said, the class leveling system, the like almost everything. Like it's shocking how much like the first game this is. Down to like fine little details. Like I noticed that when you call for a reinforcement, you have to wait a turn. As opposed to them just appearing instantly, which is is a little thing, and whatever, maybe it makes sense, but like it's the kind of thing where it's like, oh wait, but they changed that. I guess they just didn't want to do it that way again, so we're going back to how it was in the first game. And I guess that's fine, because I fucking adore the first game. But you know what I also really liked? The melee units that they introduced in the sequels, which were fucking cool. Like in Valkyria Chronicles 3, yeah, you could just fucking, like, big-ass giant wrenches or swords. You could just walk up into melee range and, like, whack a dude. And then I think it was 3 they introduced, the melee unit that has a shield that will literally, at the end of its turn, slam the shield down, and the shield will go, whoosh, and like basically turn into cover.
Yeah.
And if you have like the high ground, you could position your units behind that shield, and the bullets wouldn't even get past it. Like shit like that was just dope, and it's kind of where you expect sequels to go. This like, I hate to say it, this feels like Valkyria Chronicles 1.5.
Okay,
and that's weird. It's very like regressive. thing.
It's almost
a very reactionary thing, and I don't know if that's the best for the series. Like in some ways, obviously is right because a lot of people didn't play those sequels, and a lot of people hate.
I wish I didn't even have
a lot of people didn't have a
when the sequels came
PSP.
out.
I didn't have a PSP. I would have played it if I did.
I mean,
Those
shame
games,
on you.
Even the
But
second
no,
one came out
no,
after I'd already gotten rid of my PSP.
I mean, things you're talking about, like again, this melee unit, that's more conducive to a map design that's much smaller and segmented.
I mean,
That's
no,
in,
not
like-
exactly, because those dudes could just fucking walk up to a shock trooper that's just like unloading their AK into you, and like.
But if you have like a fucking
would just
huge
tank
map
that
like
shit.
this one, for example, that may not be conducive to your design.
That's not how Valkyria Chronicles works necessarily. You're capturing camps where you can spawn new units. Just because the map's large doesn't mean you would leave those people behind. And I think they even had like APCs that would move units around as well. So like there's a tactical reason why you might have a unit
weren't
that
APCs
doesn't
in the
move as
first
far.
game.
No, exactly.
as far as I remember.
It fucking exactly.
But I mean, I understand where Brad's coming from. That's what he's talking about. In the
It-
first game,
it's-
that's the baseline for the series. That's the first one.
Yeah.
They made some improvements, obviously, in the second and the third. But the problem was they were limited by, and I think it's because I don't think it's one of it. It's because that I think there were very much limitations on the second and third one
Because of the hardware.
Because of hardware.
Yeah.
But
they
to
fleshed
make,
out
Well, that's what I'm saying. To make the game more enticing because of that, and maybe because they had more room because they got rid of took those limitations to heart, they were able to improve on some things. I don't know why they decided to. If they did, we aren't 100% sure. Take some of those things out. I know you've played some of it, but I don't know. Like
It's just
I'm
so
wondering-
reactionary.
I mean,
there's a new unit type. He kind of shoots mortars, but like, or they shoot mortars from very far away. But even that doesn't feel as unique as some of the stuff they were doing in the sequels. Like there's these mechanic things too, where you can like tag one of your. Even though, in a single turn move in Valkyria Chronicles, you're only moving one unit, but you had this ability to kind of tag another unit, and they would like run along with you. So when you opened up on another enemy, they would be there to throw in their supporting fire, which is like this really cool thing that I think they added in 3, and I'm pretty sure that's not here.
You know what I'm wondering too, because everything prior to this demo too, that has been very focused on like snow environments, and I'm wondering if the snow will add any kind. Like I'm assuming there will be a big emphasis on snow environments when the game finally comes out, which is not part of this demo. I'm wondering if they're going to introduce any kind of new mechanics built around
Like in Covenant
limited
Heroes 2,
visibility and that kind of thing.
Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. Like I think the strengths of this game are totally going to be the strengths of the first game, and you're going to have like really good map design, interesting scenarios. And in the second map in the demo, there's like this really thick fog, and you're. It's hard for me to tell what you're supposed to do because it's obviously in Japanese.
Yeah.
But there's these tanks that when you get close, that you realize that they're like the fog clears, or because you're close and you can finally see, like, oh,
fog of
this
war.
is a dummy tank. This is even a real fucking tank.
Oh, wow.
That's kinda cool.
It was a diversionary tactic, and you don't know which of these tanks are real, so you're trying to get close to them to
It's like
even
a
find
cardboard
out.
cutout.
Yeah, well, it's like made of wood.
Yeah, okay.
And it just looks like a regular tank until you get close and realize, so there's like, they're already doing some interesting stuff, even in that second battle, which is interesting. I don't mean to be so negative. I adore Valkyria Chronicles. This is just so surprisingly reactionary. I don't think I've ever seen a sequel like do something like this.
It's kind of weird to see a sequel go so blatantly back to basically reset.
So well, it's happened before. Like when Devil May Cry 3 came out, it's like they pretended Devil
like
May
2
Cry
never
2 didn't
happened.
exist, and pretty much most of that stuff was
improved
gone. But they did. They brought some of it back and they improved it, but they also added a lot of new stuff. Yeah. This doesn't feel like they've added a lot of new stuff. It feels like the Valkyria Chronicles that would have come out like 18 months after Valkyria Chronicles 1, which is a little strange. It's just something that is super apparent and a little disappointing for me as a fan of the sequels, despite those disappointments. So we'll see where this goes. I'm obviously going to play it. I think probably all of us here are going to play it. But it was very weird. I'm gonna play the demo again on the feed tomorrow during my stream.
That's cool.
And kind of like get a little more analytical about it.
How much could you kind of pick up about the characters and whatnot?
All that stuff seems good. All that stuff seems good. Like it seems so much like that first game in the strengths of that first game. Like, it doesn't seem all weird and dumb and like high school anime, which is good, obviously, because all those people that threw out the baby are glad that stuff's not back. So good for y'all. I'm glad too. So we'll see.
Cool. Well, I didn't realize it was coming out so soon in Japan. So this game is definitely coming a lot faster than I would have expected. I wasn't even certain if it was this year before today. Excuse me. So before we get on to, I know you're going to talk more about Monster Hunter in a bit, but there's 2 other new games I want to talk about. Why don't we start with Nolan's first?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because this is
don't call it Nolan's. It's all of ours.
Well,
I just haven't had a chance.
He wants to talk about our. We want to talk about all of our game of the years of 2018.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, God.
I did buy this, by the way.
You always bring that up.
Which is one step further than I went
But like,
with
it's
FTL.
always the smallest step. You always make it seem like it's the biggest step, but it's not.
I know.
The biggest step is playing.
Yeah. So anyway,
You don't say.
Yeah, Into the Breach did come out this week, and wow, it's really fucking good.
That's what I hear.
So don't get me wrong, I will say that one of the first things that started happening when I was casting this game the other day was everyone was talking about, oh, it's so easy. It's so easy.
I think it's an easy misconception to have, considering because the maps are 8x8.
Well, no, and that's one thing. But no, I will say that, yes, I did beat this game in my first sitting.
Oh,
which
you did?
did not happen with FTL.
On
Yeah.
easy or normal?
Easy.
Okay.
But that being said...
I did beat FTL in my first sitting on easy.
Okay, sure.
But
It took me 40 tries to beat on my first.
You were playing on hard, though?
I was
normal.
playing on normal.
Normal.
That's not.
Wait, how many hours?
Strange.
No, 40 tries.
Oh, 40.
I put 45 hours into FTL.
Damn.
But I will say that even though this game is different, it's different. And you know, it might be easier in the sense that they wanted to try and make it more accessible. Because that might be one of the misconceptions, or people often hear about FTL and it's like, oh yeah, you play and you lose and you lose and you lose and you lose. And some people might not like that as much.
I think a lot of what I've been hearing tossed around has been focused on being less punishing.
Not necessarily. It all depends. I think so. Compared to FTL, I would say Into the Breach, you have more control over what's going on. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
In FTL, it was often, oh, I shot, oh, miss, oh, miss, oh, miss, oh, they hit me, oh, they keep hit, they don't miss me ever. Every single one of their fucking missiles hits my shit. You know what I'm saying? There was a lot of RNG in it.
Yeah.
And in this, that's not there. There's no RNG.
It's like more like Rabbids than XCOM.
Exactly. Yes. In the sense that it's simpler. It's a tactics game. You walk up to someone. If you like shoot something at them, it's going to hit them if it says it's going to hit them.
Yeah.
But likewise, it's the same information, from the enemy to you. Like, you always know what the enemy is going to do on their next turn. Always. And so you always take that into account. So you can determine, hey, do I want to kill this enemy, or do I want to maybe just use one of my abilities that can move them so they attack nothing, or they attack one of their own guys. And so, what's up, Nick?
I was just saying real quick for maybe people who aren't familiar with what type of game this is, because this isn't This is not FTL.
No, this is not FTL. This is from the makers of FTL.
Which they're very keen to communicate that to, but stylistically and gameplay mechanics wise, totally different.
Turn-based tactics.
This is a
Turn-based tactics
grid.
on a 8x8 grid. Every map is the same dimensions, right? 8x8.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, so that being said, similar to FTL, you had your different ships and you had your different class races and stuff like that. In this, you have Jesus
Holy crap.
Oh my god!
That was a big jump.
All right, just let him hang out.
Holy shit!
He really wants to be on the sofa. All right, let's. Anyway.
Holy.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna.
Oh my god! I love you, Butters, but this is.
Jesus. For those that are wondering why he's in here, it's because he's a puppy, and I just don't want him destroying things.
It's because you're laughing. He
Yeah.
knows you like
You're
it.
encouraging him.
Hold on, I'm just gonna open the door. Maybe he'll get out.
Hi, Butters.
It's like, stop asking questions. Let my master talk.
Oh my god.
So anyway, back to Into the Breach by Butters. Don't fucking destroy everything.
Oh man, I wonder how that came out in the audio.
Yeah.
God damn.
Fuck all you. I'm going to go eat the couch.
I really hope he doesn't pee on things. So anyway, Into the Breach. One of the different things in this game compared to FTL. In FTL, you had to do certain things that you had no fucking idea what they were to unlock new ships.
Yeah.
Like, you literally had no fucking idea. Unless you looked up a guide or something.
Yeah.
Well, there were like hints sometimes.
It was pretty obtuse.
That was so obtuse you fucking didn't know what it
and
meant.
very RNG based.
In this, every set of mechs has 3 mechs and they're all different.
This is like a mechs versus kaiju kind of thing, right?
Correct. Yeah.
More or less.
And so every time you have a set of mechs, they have 3 achievements that you can do. Set fire to 12 squares on a map during one map. Do this, whatever. Kill this many enemies, whatever it happens to be. And every time you complete one, you get a coin. And after you've died in your run or whatever, when you're on the start game screen, you can choose a new set of mechs, and they're all locked. But you can choose if you have enough coins to buy them. You can buy any. You don't have to go in a certain order, whatever. It'll give you the description of what they are, like the Flamin' Blitzkrieg or something like that. And so you don't know exactly what they do, but that sounds cool.
Yeah, you're basing your decision purely on how cool it sounds.
Yes, but yeah, you can choose to buy whatever. So I started buying them in random orders, and so every single set of mechs are like. It's amazing, and I was talking with Chad about this. I'm astounded at how much time they had to have spent balancing this game. Yeah. Because every single set of 3 mechs are completely different from each other, and they interact with the world in different ways.
Do you know how many mechs there are?
I want to say 8 sets. So that'd be 24 mechs.
Okay.
It's kind of like different ships in FTL.
Correct. But more than that, yeah, so
they're pretty iconic, right, from FTL?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah. While they are different types, they all have different it's a style of mech. So they have think of an FTL, you have your weapons and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And this certain mechs can only use certain weapons. I said that's a lie. Technically, any mech can use any weapon, but if it's not their class, it costs an extra power to charge that weapon. But anyway, that being said, so you're on these maps and you have these objectives. So you go to an island and you need to rescue the island. It's under attack by these the Vec.
Yeah.
They're monsters.
They're
giant
monsters, correct. And there's different forms of them, and they like every time you come across a new one, you're like, how do I approach this? How do I, how does
and
this?
It doesn't tell you. You just kind of learn.
No,
right?
you can. If you click on an enemy, that's one of the cool things about it. It will give you a description of what their attack is, like how their attack works. So this guy attacks in a straight line. What's up?
I just saw. So sorry, I'm looking at the footage we're watching right now, and there's like a third of the map is kind of covered by water.
There's environmental stuff in this.
Yeah, so
there's like a tidal wave hitting town.
Yeah,
known as a big thing. But what I didn't expect was I saw the water move in as the turns keep going. The water moved in, and suddenly the map gets smaller.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. That's cool.
So the cool thing is all of your mechs can operate in water, but they can't attack. So if they get flooded by water, they won't drown.
Yeah.
You just can't attack. But there are environmental things that can damage your mech. There are abilities, or do it. There's certain levels that have like fire, and so like fucking lava will come. There are ones that Brad was watching me when I was playing one earlier, where the ground was falling, like it was just collapsing. So if your mech's on collapsed ground, it's gone.
It just went away like Intelligent Cube.
Yeah, exactly. But if you had, you saw one of my mechs is like a jet, and so if the ground fell out from under him, he'd be fine. Yeah, he's a flying mech. But the craziest thing about this is every single triplet of mechs, just how they act. It's like crazy. These 3 they're fairly. This is the first set you get, and there's like a flying jet who can leap over an enemy and he'll drop like a bomb on them, which will cause smoke. But then I have an upgrade on one of my mechs that's like passive, that any enemy that's in smoke when their turn starts, they take damage.
Gotcha.
And so this team kind of specializes in producing smoke on the map. There's one set that focuses on fire. Every set of mechs I've encountered so far, one of them doesn't do damage, in the sense that when you attack, it damages them. Every single set so far, there's been at least one. So you have to learn how you interact with that world, how I can maybe use my other mech
or the
environment to do that. So this one mech, you can see it on here somewhere. It looks kind of like I don't know the best way to describe it. A spider tank.
Yeah.
He doesn't do any damage. He pushes. That's all he does.
Gotcha. And that was another thing I wanted to bring up, kind of what just watching. I watched you and Carlos play a little bit of this, and it seemed like there's a lot of emphasis on like pushing enemies, like
to an extent there is, or pushing allies. Why not push your ally out of the way of an oncoming attack?
Oh.
Why not if your ally has a bunch of health, why not shove a mech into your ally? It would damage your ally, but hey, it damages the enemy too. And that's one of the, it's all about the strategy. It's all about the fact that similar to FTL. In FTL, if your ship loses all its like health, game over. In this, you have a set of energy that these islands share. And if all of that energy is depleted, game over. So it's all about, if a building gets hit, there's one like energy loss, power.
Yeah.
And so you have to focus on, hey, I don't want that building to take damage. I might move my mech in between that attack and the building to prevent that building from taking damage.
What's the win state, I guess, for any particular map? Is it eliminating all the enemies, or is
turns?
It just turns?
There are X amount of turns. If you do eliminate all the enemies, sure, why not? They're good job.
But you can technically win the match even if you haven't eliminated all the enemies off the map?
Yes.
Huh.
Every map has X amount of turns that you have to not die, and also not have all the buildings destroyed, I guess.
Gotcha.
But all of them, you'll notice if you look on the map here, they all have little icons on them, and that tells you what you will get if you complete those objectives. And so there are 3 different things you can get. Corporation reputation. Every island is run by a corporation, and you're there to help that corporation. Reputation with that corporation. Power, which just powers up the island. If you'll see those little orange bars.
Yeah.
They're not completely full. So if I win this match by doing some sub-objective and do some sub-objective, I'll get some extra power. And if you were able to overcharge that power, so if, say I don't know how much there are, 8. Say if you have all 8 and you get one more, there's a stat that's like defense percentage or whatever. So it starts out base at 15%. Anytime an enemy attacks a building, there's a 15% chance it won't do damage.
Oh, math.
And so if you start overcharging, that will and go up to 18 to 22 to 25.
So you're improving your chances that
even if they do attack, it'll still not do damage.
But that's the only like dice roll in the game.
Correct. That is the only dice roll, to my knowledge at least. But anyway. So yeah, and the other thing is core reactors. And core reactors are like the ship power from FTL. You insert a core reactor into a mech, and that mech is permanently upgraded, and they have one more energy you can spend on increasing its health, increasing its movement, increasing maybe damage or range of a weapon, and that's where it starts getting interesting. And I was kind of talking with Brad about this before the show. It's how these abilities of the mechs interact with each other. Like I found this one weapon that you can use it once a battle, and it will spawn an extra tank. But all this tank does is, if it's close to one of your guys, it can put a shield on them. Which, hey, they don't take damage, the next attack. That's kind of cool. There's like I said, there's the one that if enemies are in smoke, they take damage. There's I don't know how many dozens and dozens of different like weapons and how they attack. There's one guy who all he does is throw rocks.
Do they do damage?
So yeah, if it hits an enemy, it'll do damage. It will also push anyone on either side of it over.
I think that's what I was seeing earlier when it was like pushing it. When it would hit, it would push enemies off.
Also, if you don't hit an enemy, the rock will stay there. And so one of the things about this game is every turn, new enemies spawn in, but you always know where they're going to spawn in. So it's a pretty good tactic to either step on that spot. Hey, the enemy can't spawn if you're standing there. You will take damage, but they don't spawn.
Oh. Or you could throw the rock on it?
Throw a rock on it. That rock will be destroyed, but then the enemy won't spawn this turn.
So it'll actually delay the enemy from entering the field.
Push an enemy onto that spot. So then they take damage. This game is all about position. That's I
see actually a lot of people in chat comparing it to chess in a way.
No, 100%. It's all about where you are on the battlefield and when. How you can manipulate other people on the battlefield to be in a more...
It's like a puzzle game. You mentioned, or maybe you mentioned it, that you see what the enemies are going to do.
Correct. You always know what they're going to do.
So it makes every turn like a puzzle you have to figure out.
Yes. And Nick, there have been times where I've looked at what the positioning is, and I'm like, I'm fucked. I'm going to lose.
Yeah.
But then I wait a second. If I do this, and then I do this, holy shit, I just won the battle. There are so many times where I've had to re-look at the battlefield. Really just kind of pay attention. There is probably something you are missing. Now,
and because it is turn-based, it gives you all the time you need
all the time in the world. Another cool thing about
decisions.
this game is if you move a character somewhere and you don't attack with them, you can move them back. There's unlimited move backs until you do an attack. Then you everything is all the moves are now set. But yeah, the other thing, pilots, and here's me kind of swapping out. Any mech can have any pilot, and so pilots will level up. They'll gain experience and they gain abilities. Chin, what's his name? Chin.
I can't read it.
I can't remember his name. His special is every time he does an attack, he can move one square
in
away.
any direction.
Yeah, so you can go and attack and then move out of the way.
Gotcha.
There's one that increases the mech's health. There's one that you start every battle with a shield. There's a bunch of pilots, and so the point of pilots is the more you use them, they start leveling up and they gain special abilities, and they might even get other stuff.
Do they get proficiencies like with specific mechs? Or?
No, they are universal. Okay. But and like I was talking with Brad about this earlier, some abilities might do better if they're on certain mechs. Like it might be more enticing to use this on that mech. Like honestly, the mech that creates shields on itself, it's not really necessary to put a person on that shield creates a shield. That mech can already make a shield on itself. Put that on a mech that can't put a shield on itself.
There's strategy outside of combat.
Exactly.
Match pilots with mechs.
So any pilot can die.
When they die, they're gone. Right?
If a mech loses all of its health in battle, that pilot's dead. The mech is now quote AI controlled. It's still you controlling it, but there's the onboard robot takes over.
Gotcha.
But for the rest of that timeline, that doesn't have a pilot in it unless you find one. And so one of the things you saw earlier, I don't know if you're paying attention, a pod landed on the battlefield, and those are random. Enemies can destroy them, but if you are able to pick them up, you get special stuff. So you might find a weapon, you might find a core reactor, you might find a pilot. And some of them, that's how I've gotten a bunch of the pilots I have. And anytime, like I said, you die, you lose, all the city takes all its damage and it's going away, you have to go back in time. We can fix this. We have to go back in time. And you can take one pilot with you.
Oh.
And so if they're max level, you get to take them and they have all their stats and stuff.
Oh.
Time travel.
Yeah, time travel. Also, there's a fucking person. They can, every battle, you can have one turn reset. You can be like, you know what, this turn's
fucked up.
Reset this.
That's nice.
There's a character who adds a second one. You can have two. And that really fucking changes things. When you get a second chance to change things, it makes a huge difference. But one of the things I didn't mention was, at the end of battle, all mechs are completely healed. So that's a big part of the strategy. It's okay if your mech takes damage. It's okay.
So how does is there an overarching story that how do you beat the game?
So so to beat the game, you have to complete one island, and then you can do a second island. And as soon as you complete that second island, you are able to go to the final island to stop the Vec outbreak.
But you're probably not ready.
You might be. So here's the thing: as you play this game, enemies scale. So if once you've beaten the second island, if you lose and you have to restart the game, you can choose either island to start at as your starting point. Once you beat the third island, when you start the game, you can choose any of those three islands. So you can go in any order you want as soon as you've beaten the island in succession. So actually, I've beaten all 4 islands now. I didn't beat the boss fight when I did that. I lost. But every time I start the game now, I can choose from any of the 4 islands. And each of them have different characteristics. They have different things that happen. There's a frozen one that obviously has to deal with a lot of ice. There's one that's in a deserty area, so that's where collapses happen. There's so many environmental things that can happen too, like lightning storms. And it's like, hey, if you're on this spot next turn, you're gonna get hit by lightning, and that instant kills you. There's fucking missions, and it's so fucking dumb, where you have to protect these robots. You can't let these robots die, but they're attacking you. And it's like, God damn it.
Wait, why would you ever protect the robot that's attacking you?
Because it's owned by a corporation, and I don't know, the corporation doesn't want that robot to get destroyed.
Stand up to the man.
Yeah.
Fuck the man.
But yeah, dude, there's just, oh my God. And like I said, I've played with 5 different styles of mechs. Dude, they're all so fucking different. Oh my God, there's a mech that all he does is pull people. But hey, you pull them into water, they drown. There's one that fucking has like lightning whips, and you can upgrade them so they can chain through buildings.
Ooh, wait, but I thought you want to...
It's the energy like goes to the building. It doesn't damage the building.
Oh, okay.
So if there's a bunch of Vec like around buildings about to attack them, you just like chain them all. You can use your own guy to make the chain longer. He'll take damage, but you can use them to make that chain longer to attack more people.
That's pretty
like,
cool.
There's a skill that lets you suplex enemies. Dude, I'm fucking loving this game. There's all the different enemies, how they interact. Like there's one, like all these floating guys you see, these little floating octopus looking guys. They all power up the enemy somehow. They give them extra health. They make them they make them do more damage. They make them recover health over time.
So you need to focus on destroying those.
Yes, they make them a bomb. So if you kill the enemy, it will explode all the squares around it. So yeah, like those are the ones they don't attack. All they do is float around. But you got a gun for them. I don't know. Like I'm loving this game.
So tell me I didn't make the wrong decision here. I bought the version of the game that comes with the soundtrack.
Dude, the soundtrack's fucking great.
It's the same guy who
Ben
did
Prunty, who also liked my tweet that day. I was tweeting about how I'm so excited to play the game. I'm listening to the soundtrack, and Ben Prunty liked it.
You know, speaking of likes, anytime I tweet about it, Chris Avalon likes it, who apparently did some writing in this game. Chris Avalon of like famous CRPG writing fame. He's written scripts for some of the densest like story driven like Western RPGs. Like what? How much writing is in this game, and why would they hire Chris Avalon to help write?
I will say this is I beat this island, and so now I'm about to leave the island. All the reputation I've gained can only be used on that island. So when I leave, it's lost. So I have to decide, like at a shop in FTL, what I want to buy. Of course, like a shop at FTL, I want to buy everything, but I can't. So like right now I have 7 reputation. So I'm looking at this one ability. I'm like, this ability seems kind of cool. This is the one I think that spawns a mech that can shield your enemies. You can buy energy power that will like, kind of like give you more health. You can buy those cores that will let you power up your mechs. You can sell any of your pilots.
Yeah.
I sell. You don't sell. You lend them to the corporation to work for them. And so the corporation gives you reputation. Same with your weapons. You can sell any weapon. Of course, then you won't have that anymore. Yeah. But hey, if you found a pod in the world that got you a weapon that you don't need, hey, sell it, whatever.
Gotcha.
Can you come back to the islands?
No.
Okay, so once you're gone, you're gone.
Yep.
How much time did you spend in this game before you beat it? I mean, I know you said you beat it on easy, so...
So I beat it... So I first played on normal, and I died. And I played on normal again, and I died. And so I was like, let me try easy. And I played on easy, and I think I died the first time, and then the second time I played it on easy, I beat it.
So what I'm hearing is I should play this game on easy.
Similar to FTL, I would recommend, trying on easy, just to get your feel from the game. It's going to be hard. You're going to die. And so that's what I'm saying. If you this is me kind of looking at those achievements. So here's the mechs I've currently unlocked. I've unlocked 4 sets.
Yeah.
Each one, it tells you, hey, this is your objective. If you can do this, you will get a coin. And every time you get a coin, if you get X amount, you can unlock a new set of mechs.
Gotcha.
But you can't mix and match mechs from different sets, can you?
So someone was telling me you can.
Okay.
They were like, you can bring 3 of the same mech. I don't know why you would do that.
Maybe it's just OP.
I don't think so.
You feel like there's a fair balance there?
Yeah, I don't think...
People have made it like their purpose in life to do some of the dumbest shit in video games I've ever seen. So
you
never know.
So Roland Hungus says you can. Like there's one mech that he doesn't damage enemies unless they're on fire. So it's like he can set a fire, but if when he does that to an enemy, they get set on fire, but they don't take any damage. There's this huge fucking there's one mech that doesn't attack. All he does is swap places with the enemy. That's all he does, or ally.
That's interesting.
But if you're over like a cliff and you swap places and they're not a flying enemy, they'll fall. Or if you're about to be attacked, you swap places with an enemy. Now that enemy will be attacked. Dude, it's so fucking good. Dude, like, and one of the achievements for that one was warp 4 tiles. And so by default, you can only warp 1 space. But the more you upgrade it, you can then warp 2. And then the final upgrade, which costs like 5 like power to actually get it going, is 4 spaces, which is actually super fucking helpful.
So one of the main staples of FTL was like the mini events that would happen whenever you jump to a new system. like there'd be spiders that infest a station, but if you
Sure.
have if a mantis guy, you can clear him out and you get a reward.
Sure.
Does that happen with your mechs on the maps?
Unfortunately, no. I would say some mechs are more like useful on certain maps, but the only kind of mini events like those are like I said, every time you interact with something, you have these mini objectives, which are always very different. In this one, there's 2 missiles that are about to take off, and I have to keep them alive so they can take off.
Okay.
That's like this one. Like I said, sometimes you're doing like defend this unit. Sometimes it's like, hey, defend this unit that's attacking you, but you also have a mech that like a friendly unit that can freeze enemies. So just freeze them, and they stay frozen forever until they're attacked, which is really useful.
Man, I want to play
and
this.
so there goes that missile, and so it destroys anything that's in its range. They're like, but yeah, unfortunately, there's not anything like kind of story related. Oh, if you happen to have this guy with you, then you win or whatever. Yeah, there's nothing like that, unfortunately.
Well, that'd be really good for like an advanced edition.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe.
I'll say it. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I should probably pay FTL.
Yeah, it's
at
pretty
some
good,
point
Nick.
in my life.
But one of the cool things I've done a few times in the footage, I know this game is very, very transparent. If you look in the top right next to the turn counter, those are my 2 objectives I need to complete, and right next to that is like a turn order. And if I hover over that, it will tell you exactly what is going to happen. The first thing that happens,
make an educated decision.
anything on fire takes damage. Second, anything in smoke is affected. Third, enemies do their movements, and it will put a number over each enemy. So this is the order they're going to go in. Fourth, new enemies spawn. Like, you know what I'm saying? It tells you exactly what is going to happen. Right there, I just reset my turn. I didn't like what I did. I didn't like where I was going. I said,
it's like it's like it communicates every piece on a chessboard. It tells you exactly what the turn order is and what each piece on the board can do, so you can
not necessarily can, but is about to.
Or is about
Literally
to do.
about to do.
So you can make informed decisions.
Yes.
on
And
your
the thing
turn.
is, I was talking with Brad about this. He was like, has there ever been a time where you like clicked intern and you're like, everything's fine, but then you missed something? Yeah. I didn't see where something was, and I'm fucked. Like everything just would you can ask chat. I've casted like 7 hours of this game so far. I was so excited for it. I jumped on before Nick's cast the other day because I wanted to play it. So there have been plenty of times where I'm like, yeah, I'm good, and then I get fucked and I lose in a single battle. Like I thought I was great, but just things go south and I just game over, man.
You know the style of tactics where you see what the enemy's about to do is something like I feel like I've seen that in before.
Yeah, I think
like
games have done that before.
Yeah, but like it's certainly a cool idea. The weirdest I've ever seen was in Vandal Hearts 2, where it was turn based like this, and then one of your units and one of the enemy units would move and do their thing at the same time, and you don't really know. So it's like, I'm going to run over and hit that guy, and he's going to run over and hit me, and then you both like swap spaces and hit air.
Oh,
because you're both trying to hit each other.
Yeah.
It's really weird how that works, but this kind of reminds me of that, even though it's not like that.
One last potentially dumb question.
sure.
When it comes to, so you can see what the enemy is going to do in the next turn.
Yep.
When you interrupt their action by doing something, like you push them out of the way, do you see what their new action's going to be?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
if right
So it's
here,
all changing in real
right
time?
here, this guy he's gonna shoot a fire. The guy on the bottom is gonna shoot a projectile straight across. If I were to somehow move him, it would change where that path is. Like now he's going to go this way. Now he's going to do whatever. Yeah, and so that's very. And you need to know that because often it is a matter of, oh, I'm going to push an enemy into another enemy's line of fire. Oh, I'm going to, like I said, it's all about like knowing where an enemy is, where they're going to be on the next turn, because some enemies will move. There are guys that charge. There's this one class of enemy that all he does is randomly spawn up somewhere in the ground and do an attack. Unless you hit him first, then he'll go back down and try and go somewhere else.
Okay.
So it's like whack-a-mole.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of room for like modifying just that gameplay aspect there.
Probably, yeah.
Like just taking away that, not seeing what they're going to do in the next turn.
Oh my god, that'd be
like that would
ridiculous.
change everything about
Yes,
this game.
I think you would lose.
That would be a different game.
Yeah,
I don't know. It might be kind of cool.
maybe. I don't know.
I mean, people modded the fuck out of FTL for a
Yeah,
while.
that's true.
Who knows what will happen?
Yeah. But that being said, this game's great. Like I said, and so that's the thing. That's another thing. Beating this game means you beat it with that set of mechs, and you've beat it that many islands. So I have one victory in this game with one set of mechs with 2 islands conquered. So that means I have to do it again with that set of mechs for 3 islands and again for 4 islands to get like you get like a little medal or something like that. So I mean, there definitely there's like if you want to like beat this game, you have to do a lot of different things. And like I said, there's still like 4 sets of mechs I haven't even unlocked yet. Like I don't even know how those mechs.
And it sounds like you're gonna keep going.
Fuck yeah, dude! This game's good.
I'm very much looking forward to trying it myself.
And once again, the music's fucking great.
I can't wait to listen to it because I did buy it. I had that much faith because I do love the FTL soundtrack, even though I've never touched that game.
Which is still sad.
Which I know is also very sad, but trust me, I'll get there. I have a game to talk about. Played this last night. What? Okay. So last night I started. Oh, sorry. I finished Moss, which is a PlayStation VR game from Polyarc. We actually all played this at E3 last year, and this is.
Well, I didn't, but still.
You didn't?
Most of us did.
I didn't get to.
Most of us being myself, Nick, and Crispy.
Oh, damn! Brad didn't do it either.
I don't think he did.
Shit!
He didn't go to E3 last year.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he did. All of us were there.
Wait, he did?
That was last year was the only year that we've all been at the same time.
Okay.
Anyways,
was
so, oh my God, no, Butters.
And now
what are
Brad
you
has
doing?
been replaced by Butters.
Okay, that's happening. Anyways, so Moss is a third person VR game where you play as a little mouse named Quill. It's very much like a it's presented in such a way that it feels like you're reading like a storybook, and you're actually physically turning the pages. The narrator's reading this like very simplistic, very like fairy tale-esque story to you, which is all incredibly charming. And then it does these cool like transitions where it goes into the book, and suddenly you're playing as Quill.
Yep.
Now, I played this game in its entirety last night on the feed. It only took about 3.5 hours while streaming it. Yeah, Butters took your spot.
You've been
Brad.
replaced.
Butters, you gotta move. Oh, man.
Butters, hey, come here.
You know what? Nolan, I might recommend maybe you should take Butters to the daycare on Thursdays. just permanently. Oh, my goodness.
It might be good.
Has no idea that you want
How
to
much is this video game if you only beat it in like 3 hours?
Well, first of all, I think that's kind of before I talk about it, it's kind of an unfair question to ask. Second, I pre-ordered it. I can't remember what I paid because the PlayStation pre-orders work strangely. Like you pay for it up front, and then it just downloads it when it comes out. So I pre-ordered this like a month and a half, 2 months ago. I think I want to say it's $20. Maybe someone in chat can confirm for me.
I think that sounds right.
I could be wrong. But yeah, I played this last night. You didn't play this at E3, Brad?
No, but I played a demo of it that was just released in the PlayStation Store.
Okay. So
Yeah, it seemed very cool.
it is very cool.
No, it is, yeah.
So what is so cool about this game is that essentially you're controlling 2 characters simultaneously. One being which
The
is
spirit.
which is actually the spirit is called the Reader.
Yeah.
And the spirit kind of watches over Quill and guides him, and he's worked into the story, and it's a pretty interesting way. So I don't want to spoil it. And then at the same time, you're controlling Quill. You control the Reader with the headset. So you're essentially your face, your eyeballs are the fucking camera, which is really, really cool. And at the same time, you're moving Quill around the environment using a controller, which honestly, I keep thinking about like the way I felt with how Resident Evil 7 kind of showed me what maybe the future would be like if VR was the next major step, right?
Yeah.
If that became the next just standard for the way video games are created and controlled. This is how first-person games would work in VR. Moss has very much been like kind of what the future of like third-person platformers might look like if you in VR.
I mean, there have been VR three third-person platformers other than this.
Yeah,
so.
no, for sure.
There have been, but I feel like have they all been done quite like this, where you're actually controlling the camera with your face?
Yeah.
But that sensation has always been very remarkable to me. I think it's harder to like describe that sensation to people though than it is for like first person VR, because I feel like that's very obvious, right? First person horror, you're looking around those corners yourself, right?
Yeah.
And that's very remarkable. But that sensation of you kind of being this very large person just kind of looking around what feels like a miniature world, you know, as this thing is exploring it is a very particular sensation that you're not going to get from looking at footage.
Right,
You're
and
not really
actually-
going to understand when you're looking.
There was
looking at
actually
footage.
somebody who I forgot who it was that popped into my stream last night while I was playing it and was like, "I'm perplexed by this game because I couldn't quite figure out who I was controlling or what I was doing."
Yeah.
They're like, "Are you controlling the mouse? Are you controlling the camera?" And it's kind of like, well, both. I guess if you've never played a game like this or seen a game like this, it might be kind of a weird thing to kind of wrap your head around. But it works so remarkably well. And I can't speak for the other games, the other platformers that you talked about that have kind of done this style before. But this game is incredibly polished. Like, it animates absolutely beautifully. I think this is easily an early contender for best looking game of the year. Everything is like the world, like just looking around, like because you are the camera, you can kind of look around the world and take in these 3D environments in like ways that I've never really done before in a game. Quill herself like animates really, really beautifully. In fact, you may notice in the footage a few times, she does this little thing where when you climb up onto a ledge, depending on the height of the ledge, she does this little like duck and roll.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, that's like the most satisfying thing I've seen.
And it's random. It doesn't always happen. It's just like randomly.
I think it has to do with the height of the ledge you're trying to jump up, or how you hit it when you do the jump. But it's like the most satisfying thing since like Lara Croft's like handstand.
Yeah, when she handstand when she's vaulting things.
I fucking love it. It adds so much personality, which this game is absolutely dripping with.
Yeah.
And like right here in this one area I was walking through, like it kind of happening in the background, because you're a mouse, so the world seems very large, but in fact it may look like a lake to you, but it's actually just like a creek. And like behind you, kind of in the background, you don't even notice it kind of at first, but there's these deer drinking from the lake or from the creek. And when you like make a noise, like it like you see its head come up and it's like, oh, what was that? And like it freaked me out. And I was like, whoa. But like kind of seeing that in VR is
This, yeah,
really,
and
really
I have
it's
played
really cool.
this in VR, and yeah, it definitely is. Like Brad was saying, it's a different experience from just looking at it.
Yeah.
Like, because it literally feels like you're looking into a diorama.
Yeah,
It feels like
exactly.
you're standing over a diorama where there's a mouse moving around.
And in fact, there are puzzles, because this game does eventually go from being just kind of a straightforward platformer to being almost like a puzzle room, like Portal, where you're going through from room to room to room, and they're all just kind of like you kind of know how you interact with the environment, how various things work, and you kind of have to do it in a certain order to make your way to the exit.
Do you know what game would work as this style of VR platformer that wasn't VR, and I think it was not as remarkable because of it, but that Captain Toad game? Where
Oh, God, that would have been so good in
puzzle game
VR.
was all about spatial reasoning and looking around the environment, but
it
you
was
did
on
it by
the
just
Wii U.
moving the camera.
It was a game on Wii U with Toad,
Captain Toad Treasure Tracker.
and he had to move around the world, but you had to kind of like shift the 3D environment and interact with things, and that would have been a fucking amazing game in VR.
Absolutely.
Like Fez, or there was a PSP or Vita game that came out years ago. It was like
I know
a
what you're thinking
Cubert?
of.
you're moving a guy
Crush?
around the environment.
Crush.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, Crush.
Oh, I know what you're talking
I mean-
about. The stick figure guy.
Yeah, stick figure.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was called.
all like your name, like I'm sure these are all accurate. Like I was after playing this, I'm like, there is so much potential for playing games kind of like this. But like it really starts to like you really kind of get the sense for what this game feels like and what we're talking about with the diorama stuff when there are certain rooms, there's all kinds of shit. There's like statues everywhere, and there's corners and doors and walls, and you're moving Quill through it, and sometimes you lose track of Quill, or you can't quite see, is there a door there? And you have to actually like lean into the world.
Yeah.
Like there was times where I was like looking around for like I was like I can't see a door in here, but there's got to be a door somewhere in here, and I had to actually lean into the world, and I was like peeking around corners and like looking on top of things and like getting down. Like there was a house, and like the front of the house had like a big hole in it, but like it was like a 3-story house, and I kind of like got down. I was like peering through the front of the house and like looking up and seeing the stairwell into it, and it does a really amazing job of just creating this like 3D space. And then they start layering in combat too, which is
Oh yeah, combat is
cool.
pretty interesting in this game.
And like I didn't even realize how interesting it was, but there are. So essentially the main way you're controlling the game is when you can interact with things in the environment as the reader by holding down R1 on the controller, and like you can grab things and you can like spin things or open doors,
lift things
so that Quill can go under them and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's this really interesting sensation, especially in combat, where they'll throw like 3 or 4 enemies at you at once, sometimes way more than that. And you can grab enemies to stop them from moving.
Yeah, you can hold them in place.
You can hold them in place, which lets you attack them, or just hold them in place while you're attacking other dudes. So you eventually get to the point where you're like multitasking like crazy. And there's like some enemies where you can grab them and they shoot like projectiles, and you can aim them and they'll shoot through projectiles. So sometimes I'm like fighting a dude, and there's a dude up on a ledge. There's like two dudes like across the screen from each other, and they're both shooting at me like in the middle of the screen on the first floor. And you can grab one of them and have him shoot at the dude across the way while you're attacking a totally separate dude on the bottom. So you're essentially handling like 3 enemies at once. And when they suddenly have like sometimes 7 or 8 enemies on screen at once, like it gets really hectic and really crazy, and sometimes pretty challenging. But I don't know, it's just a really charming, fascinating, beautiful game. There's a really amazing kind of like sequence at the end that's kind of like a boss, quote unquote, that I don't want to spoil. Yeah, it's the snake.
Dang.
That was part of the marketing.
It was. So here's the thing. I finished it and it says end of book 1.
Okay.
So they're very much like,
is this,
I beat it in
Avatar?
3 hours, but it's very much like this is definitely like there's no sense of like conclusion at the end of this. So they must be working on more content. I don't know if it's going to be an additional like purchase, or if it's just like they're going to keep releasing it episodically to go with what you've already purchased. Because someone in chat corrected me, it's $30, $29.99. So I'm kind of hoping, especially if they're going to all kind of be 3 hours, that it's going to be kind of like the $30 covers
like a Telltale game almost.
Yeah, like you've paid 30. I think that's
happening.
probably reaching, but I feel like unless they're planning on doing like, oh no, I mean, I wouldn't want to pay $30 for. Sorry, this is going to sound unfair because I think the game is absolutely worth the price I paid for it, even though it is short. But if they're planning on releasing like 3 or 4 of these, I don't think that if they're going to all be priced the same.
Yeah, for
unless they're going to release them as DLC for this one, and it's like $5 for another chapter or something, which might make sense. Who knows? I didn't even know this game was going to be quote unquote episodic until I finished the game and saw the.
And then
the
again,
credits.
you don't know if it actually is going to be.
That, but that goes to mean nothing.
But they've like I've been following them on Twitter and stuff, and they seem very much the way they're talking about it. It seems very much like yes, there's going to be more of this. Because, like I said, like it does not wrap up in any consistent and there's no way that that's meant to be the ending of this story.
Sure,
the way it wraps up, and they even introduce like characters and enemies in the game like that you never see, that like okay, like the main creature, whatever, it looks like it's gonna be like a big owl. You see like glimpses of it, but you never actually meet that character in the game. So I'm assuming that's kind of what they're building to. Who knows? But yeah, $30 might sound like a lot, but I swear to God, this is like probably one of the coolest VR experiences out there. It's totally worth it, especially if they're going to keep releasing more content for it. So I do have an extra code for it, by the way.
I got a PSVR.
That's why I was looking at you, Nolan. You're the only other person here with the VR. But I think everybody in the room should
play it. But
everybody in the room should play it. We'll find a way to make that happen if y'all are interested. I'm even thinking about buying another VR headset so we can stop passing this one around like a hot potato. But
we already can.
We
have
maybe
2 of
get
them
like a Vive or something.
Oh yeah, maybe.
Well, the Vive Pro, which is coming out.
You know,
That's what I'm thinking about.
I heard Subnautica has a VR mode.
It does.
But like
I want to do it. Yeah.
A lot of games do unofficially.
But I heard it's not great.
Oh really?
Or at least it's kind of buggy as fuck. Anyways, let's take a quick break. When we come back, Brad's gonna fill us in on all the time he's spent playing Monster Hunter, because he's fucking addicted, or he was at least, right?
Talk about it.
We'll talk about it. So, if you're watching us live, don't go anywhere. We'll be back after this short break. Talk about more Monster Hunter. Peace out.
Don't say peace out.
Peace out. Hey everyone, welcome back to the show. Before we jump into Monster Hunter, I want to quickly remind everybody that we'll be announcing the winners for the giveaways for January and February. I know I'm a little behind. During the community segment, I'll do that right before we read off our questions from our supporters on Patreon. Both of those winners will be able to, if they accept their prize, will be able to choose any game of their choosing up to a $60 value, and we will gift it to them. So yeah, stick around for the community segment. We'll announce that shortly. But before we do that, Brad?
Yo.
I hear you've been into a thing.
You know, last time I was on this podcast, I was talking about Xenoblade Chronicles
Yes.
2?
Yes, you were.
Correct.
Yeah.
That was a while ago.
Yeah.
That was a December
the
game.
following day, I think, or maybe it was the week before, Monster Hunter came out, and along with like Dragon Ball Z. Like a lot of stuff was coming out.
Yeah.
Subnautica.
Yep.
You know.
Oh, let's not talk about Subnautica.
Well, ever
Please,
since
no.
Monster Hunter came out, I had not played a second of any of those other games. I don't know if it has to do with me not wanting to switch the disc.
That could be.
Who wants to do that? It's like I could put in Dragon Ball Z, but then I'd have to take out Monster Hunter, and that's just the whole thing, right?
Yep.
I have been. This is my first like really deep dive into Monster Hunter. I have played some Monster Hunter in the past. I played some Try. I played very little of 4U. But Monster Hunter World, and I apologize for getting Coral Highlands footage. I didn't realize when Crispy captured footage, this is what he gathered. But
Well, when he was playing this area, he was chasing the same monster for like 25 minutes.
so
I mean, that is
That
Monster
sounds
Hunter.
like Monster Hunter.
Yeah,
Well,
but he may be
no.
going after a different monster. I'm just saying.
We hope.
no, you don't chase monsters too long. But or after you get further into the game, this is like kind of what I have been obsessing over. It's all I've been playing. I have finished the game.
So last time I saw on Twitter, you said you put like 90 plus hours into it.
Well, I think my final clock time was about 115.
Damn.
115 hours. It doesn't maybe take that long to like finish the game, but the way you play this style of game, you can dump a lot of hours into it. And there's still so much to do after you quote unquote finish the game, because all this other stuff opens up. New systems, tempered monsters, and there's like a ton of like DLC and stuff. Just today or yesterday, the Horizon
Zero Dawn.
for where you can get the full skin for
Aloy.
Aloy,
Yeah.
and that all that stuff's really cool.
That's only temporary, right?
Well, doing the quest is temporary, I believe.
But once you got it, you got it.
You got
Okay.
it. You got it. Like there's a Ryu one that's gonna expire soon, I think. This game, man. It's I know Crispy talked a little bit about it, and I guess he talked about the merits of Monster Hunter.
Oh, yeah.
Like each monster is this unique creature that's probably better than any fucking boss fight, in terms of just pure design, like attacks and animations, and they're just great to fight. But the reason I think Monster Hunter games are so addictive is just getting into that loot system. Inherently it's cool that all the armor that you unlock just kind of looks like the pieces of the monster you fight.
Definitely.
But just that loop is so addictive. Of like, oh man, I need one more part, and I can make this piece of armor. But I think all Monster Hunter games have had that addictive loot system. But I think especially in this one, the way they do the skill system. I don't know if Crispy went
The scale system?
the skill system.
Oh, yeah.
He went too deep into that where. I don't know if you look at my character. She doesn't look the greatest, but that's because I've mixed and matched like certain pieces of armor to maximize my skills, because you might have like one piece of armor that gives you 2 points into Slugger, and then another piece of armor that gives you 1 point into Slugger, which means you've reached level 3 Slugger, which is the max for that certain type of skill. But then there's like a skill called like Attack Boost that has like 7 levels of skill, and if you get the right combination of armor along with your jewels that you could socket into armor and your charm slot, you can reach max level of attack power. And just kind of the combinations you have to kind of put together these ultimate builds through equipment makes it so addictive. And they have systems like when you fight a hard monster, there's a random chance there's a chance that you might get a jewel, and you don't know what that jewel is going to be. And
those loot drops.
The loot is done so good in this
Still
game.
trying to get those winged boots, though, right?
So good. I mean, come on. I mean, I love Harmony of Despair, but the loot system in that game is like super shallow compared to what it is in this. And I think that's what keeps people playing Monster Hunter for hundreds of hours.
Yeah.
But at the point where I was at in the game, I did reach credits, and I did kind of spend a lot of time getting up to that point, and I spent a little time afterwards as well. And I've seen all the monsters in the game, right? I've killed or I farmed all the ones I really want to farm to get the equipment that I wanted. Now there are tempered monsters, which are even harder than high rank, which is even harder than low rank, and they do drop those jewels way more often. And there's other stuff out there, once you get into like augments and whatnot, or stream stones or whatever. But what I decided, and I have put down the game for a couple of weeks, and so I'm a little rusty in some of this footage here. But the reason I put it down is, one, this was kind of consuming my life, obviously, which is,
over 100 hours in a couple of weeks.
Yeah,
there's that one day.
Especially when you were the father of a baby.
When did this come out? January what?
24th.
24th. So in just a little over a month.
I didn't even play it.
Well, I know.
First week.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you already put like 115 hours in.
And I haven't played in the last 2 weeks.
I forgot what day that was. We had everybody over here. That may have been for our 10-year anniversary. I remember.
Maybe.
I remember stepping out in the hall. Brad like pulled Crispy into the hallway, and they're just out there talking about Monster Hunter. It's like, what are you doing?
I could have been a better dad, while I was playing this game. I'm not gonna lie, and it's really hard to play this game when you do have a baby, because you can't pause it. Even when you're playing offline, you can't pause it, and the missions are timed, so you can't just like stand in an area where there's no monsters around. How many times have
you yelled from Malia? I can't pause it.
No, the way you pause it is to put the PlayStation into rest mode. That's the only way you can pause.
Can't you just go back to the?
You have to put it into rest mode.
Oh Jesus!
Yeah. The reason I decided to put it down is not just because I felt like satisfied with Monster Hunter World. I definitely don't. I definitely want to keep going, because there's so much more I can do and see and get. But it's because
are there parts of the world you haven't been to yet?
No. One, it was consuming my life, and two, I think I cart fighting this dude. But again, it's been a couple weeks since I played. It's that
consuming your life, and
what I realized is that I could keep fighting the same monsters over and over again, even though there's much harder versions of them and there's more stuff to unlock. But I had not played that much of some of the previous ones.
Yeah.
So I was like, why don't I just put this down for a while? Play some Dragon Ball Z, play some Subnautica, play some fucking Into the Breach, and on my 3DS, of which I finally got a Samus.
Yeah, I saw that.
New 3DS.
Sexy looking 3DS.
Like, I'll just play Monster Hunter on the 3DS, because everyone's telling me like 4U was amazing. Generations is super cool because they have different like fighting styles and shit. And there's so many monsters in those games that aren't in this one. Like, won't it be more fulfilling to me? Kind of experiencing new monsters in a completely different Monster Hunter game, even though it's on a handheld, than just grinding out this game more often. And I can play it while I poop. Now, granted, it is on a handheld, and I have not been able to play as much Monster Hunter as I was when I was playing this. But I do find that like way more fulfilling, I think, than grinding away in this game.
I feel like Monster Hunter would have been as far as like a. Everyone, like, this is kind of the Monster Hunter that, at least here in the States, has kind of blown up. I mean, Monster Hunter...
No, absolutely. Yeah, this was the first time that it really caught
resonated.
on in the West.
Like, this is the first one that has really resonated with, like,
a
the mainstream
lot of
audience.
Destiny players moved on to it.
Oh, really?
I didn't think about that.
Destiny 2 was ultimately kind of disappointing for the community.
I think that's very kind to say.
And you see a lot of Destiny players have moved on to Monster Hunter.
I'm just curious. I feel like Monster Hunter would have been like one of those. Like, this game seems like it made a lot of improvements that made it appeal to a broader audience finally here in the West. And I feel like going back and playing the games that came prior to this would have been difficult.
For a lot of people who are getting into this for the first time, but I've played Monster Hunter before.
Okay, so you already knew what to expect.
Oh yeah, I knew what to expect, and I do miss a lot of the niceties, the quality of life changes that this game made, like, for sure. like even just like picking up materials and stuff. You could just run past like a plant and just like grab it as you're running. But in that game, you had to like stop and put away your weapon and like just you have to hit the button multiple times and it takes forever.
Painful.
Oh, it's painful as hell.
Or just like the
when
gated environments.
But when it comes down to it, it's all about finding these cool, unique monsters, getting their armor, getting addicted to that loop. You start to forgive that stuff. It's like whatever. I mean, this is how Monster Hunter's always been, but it's always been like dope. So you just got to get past that stuff.
Yeah.
And man, I fuck it. It's cool. I miss my lance because that's what I used the majority of this game. Is this weapon here, and I'm kind of forcing myself not to use it as I play Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate. And it's been kind of awkward. But I'll get there.
How much of the game did you ultimately end up playing by yourself?
100%. I never once did multiplayer.
Wow.
Yeah.
That actually excites me because I've been I've been eyeing this game and I know I'm eventually going to get to it. I just knew if I did that I'd probably spend most of my time playing by myself.
Monster Hunter has always been fun single player and rewarding single player, but you add that multiplayer element with friends especially.
Yeah. It just gets better.
Then your 100-hour experience turns into like a 400-hour one, and you're playing, for 8 hours every night, like this guy did with The Division, or you know what I mean? Like it becomes a lifestyle game.
Yeah.
I stopped playing it because I didn't want that to happen.
That's honestly one of the reasons I never picked up Monster Hunter is because I don't say I'm addicted, but there's certain games that I don't want to say obsess over, but it's one of those things when you start like, oh, I want to know more about this. And you'll get on like a wiki about it.
Nolan, you'd fucking love it.
Yeah, which is why I won't let myself play it.
This is one of those I've been thinking about it all day games. Like all I was doing when I was playing this game was watching videos.
Yeah.
Was reading stuff.
Yeah.
What yeah,
searching through a wiki for like stats and build ideas. Yeah.
That's all I did. And now my YouTube recommendations are filled with Monster Hunter videos, and I'm like, no, stop! I don't want to play anymore.
Yeah.
And they're still gonna throughout the spring and the year they're gonna be releasing like new monsters and stuff, and all that stuff's free, and all this cool like tie-in stuff is free, and that's fucking cool. I really want to get the Horizon stuff, but
you know what you should do before you get that?
Play Horizon.
Play Horizon.
Yeah, but that's a different kind of game.
Very different.
I mean, kind of, but I think it has some similarities.
Yeah, but it doesn't have
like
that
a lot
amazing
of
addictive loop that this game has.
Brad, you know what? Sure. Maybe you should broaden your horizon.
I'm just saying, like,
I own it.
The combat in
I'm
Horizon.
like Nick. I bought it. I'm like halfway to credits.
Oh, okay. I thought you said unlike Nick. I was like, bitch, I bought that game twice.
Just like Nick.
Would you like to borrow my copy, Nick?
He doesn't.
Of Horizon?
No, Monster Hunter.
Oh no, I'll
you
buy it
bought
myself.
this?
It came with my new PS4 Pro.
Dude,
I got a deal.
Is that the?
It's
is
like
that,
The Division, but cool. But you're not just fighting soldiers with ARs, 15s, or whatever the fuck you do in The Division.
No, you fight guys with flamethrowers too.
Okay.
There you go. There you have it.
You feel like I'm chasing this monster and I see Legiana, and you're like, I'm gonna fuck up Legiana. Fuck this.
Wait, is that what that is?
Yeah, it's Legiana.
It looks like a dragon. I'm very excited. Although,
a lot of dragons.
Admittedly,
my wife was talking a lot of shit. She's like, "Is everything a dinosaur or a dragon or a lizard in this game?" And I'm like, "That's just what Monster Hunter is." She's like,
you're Monster Hunter.
Yeah, but she's like, "Well, why isn't there like different kinds of monsters? Why are they all got to look like dragons and stuff?" And I'm like, "That's just how the world. That's just the style."
Because if it looked fluffy and friendly, you'd feel bad killing it.
There's a couple of fluffies.
I mean, it's called a Palico. And it's your best friend in the
Palicos
game.
are so cool. The Palico armors are the greatest. Oh my god.
Do the Palicos level the same way your character does?
No, they have their own level.
So it's separate. Okay.
No, yeah.
Okay.
I'm very much looking forward to playing
curious
this.
about
Admittedly, though, I'm probably going to put some space between finishing Subnautica and playing this because I can't go from like one addicting. Like, I'm getting to the point of Subnautica where I'm like spending time of my day to like look up shit. And
let me quickly.
I planned an expedition in a fucking Google Doc.
Let me quickly tell you. I know we don't want to talk too much about Subnautica, but in the past couple of weeks, I've played it for maybe like 8 hours.
Yeah,
7.5 of those hours were spent inside a cave around 700-900 meters deep, constantly with my prawn, farming materials, going back to my Cyclops, building my Cyclops wall to wall is just fucking lockers, and filling those lockers with material, and then going out and then building a base in there so I could spend more time. Like, and all I've done is collect like resources.
See, that's what I like.
I have like 10.
Is it satisfying?
Yeah,
Dude, I spent yesterday because I tried to go down into a really deep cave to one of the final areas that you kind of go to in the game with a prawn, because I didn't want to have to try and take my Cyclops down to this like tight space while avoiding fucking like Leviathan creatures and shit. So I was like, I'll just take the prawn. Thing is so fucking slow.
Oh yeah.
It took me like 20 minutes to get in there, do my shit, and then get back out, to my prawn. So I was like, you know what, fuck this. I gotta take the Cyclops down there. So I planned the entire expedition. I opened up a Google Doc. I wrote down all the shit I want to build to make sure I'm prepared for this thing, all the materials I need to build each one of those things, the order in which I'm going to build them, and then like the steps that I'm going to take to go in and execute this mission.
Yeah.
I've planned a fucking expedition.
And it's going to last 10 minutes before you just go off the
No,
rails.
last night I
Nick?
spent like 30 minutes before my stream getting ready for it, and I fucking like was like the most productive 30 minutes I think I've had in
You
the
know
game.
what I did, Nick? I was on my Cyclops and I was like, man, my batteries keep running out. I'll build a little battery charging station so I can charge up my batteries. And I was like, man, my Cyclops, it's running low on power cells. Let me build a power cell recharger. So I would take on the Cyclops. So I would take this.
I did that and people were giving me shit because they're like, you're using the power to charge your power.
I would take the power cell from the Cyclops, put it in the charging station. It would start filling up, and I'd go to switch it out. I'm like, wait, why is this one already empty? And then it fucking dawned on me, like, oh my god, the Cyclops is what fucking powers it. So I'm literally just shifting the power from this battery to this one, and then swapping them.
Yeah, so
and it took me about 20 minutes to realize what I was doing.
I did the exact same thing. But hey, I'm productive. Last thing I did last night, I got the Cyclops down through like the descent, right? I'm at the entrance to the cave. I'm good to go. Just got to get in there and do my shit.
Found any more Leviathans?
Yes, I have found the biggest Leviathan in the game, I'm pretty sure. The biggest.
What's it called?
I don't fucking know. Dragon Emperor or something? Something? What do you want me to do? Swim up to it and scan it?
Yeah.
Yes.
No.
Scan its butthole.
Yeah, no, that's not how
Be a
this
man, scan it.
That's not how this works.
Did you explore that ship fully and everything?
Yes, I did. I did that a few weeks ago, actually.
But you still don't have your cute pet.
No, I'm not worried about that shit. I just want to get off the planet. I have built 3 out of the 5 pieces of my fucking...
don't spoil
Sorry.
anything.
Sorry. Sorry.
Remember we were not
Yeah.
going to talk about this that much?
Hey, yeah, don't get me wrong here. Like, I haven't played Subnautica since Monster Hunter came out, but like, that is... I mean, that just means that's just because I was addicted to Monster Hunter. I still very, very much love what I've played of Subnautica and can't wait to play more of it.
Yeah,
But now into the
it's not really my type of game, but like I'm so glad this is the survival game that I kind of chose to get into. And Roland Hungus, yes, I already am aware of the Ion Cube situation. I've got like 8 of them with me.
Brad, I will say, just right before we move off Subnautica, I regret not playing it with hunger and water.
Why?
Just because I feel like I'm missing out.
I kind of feel that way sometimes, but then I'm like, nah.
All right.
But
anyway.
anyways, we need to move on.
Yeah.
Is there anything... I know, Chris Davis, I know you've been playing some Metal Gear Survive. Is there anything you want to say about that?
I mean,
that we haven't already covered?
I did want to expand it because I actually did beat the game.
What the...
Yeah,
Sorry, I don't know.
I've beaten the game. I put 32 hours into it thus far. I beat it like, I don't know, 8 hours ago.
Okay.
You beat it?
Yeah, credits rolled, and now I'm on post-game content. Remember that thing you said about it you not wanting it to be canon?
It's not. Don't talk to me.
See, there's a thing about this game. The way the story is structured,
No.
there's an alternate ending that you can choose to do, which explains a small plot hole in the Phantom Pain, actually.
I don't want this game anywhere near my Metal Gear.
Well, too
canon.
bad because it fucking is, and you had to live with it.
No, I don't.
Post game, the game actually starts to open up with certain amounts of content. You go on a few extra like story quests and they unlock new stuff. Like you go get a memory board from a certain location, you come back, and now you have access to 4 subclasses that you can build and expand on for regular and multiplayer, which I think would alleviate some of Nolan's problems that he had with the game, especially with like scavenging. One of the classes it's called the Scout. and he's got a scavenging ability to where you activate it because you can swap out like any 4 skills at any one time within that tree to deactivate. Anytime you go up and you pick up an item in the world, it picks up all the items that are within a certain radius of it. So if you've got
I heard about that, and you know what? Somebody brought up I think it was someone on Giant Bomb brought up a really interesting point about that.
Yeah.
That's really helpful.
Yeah.
Until you're suddenly running out of space in your inventory to carry shit.
Yeah.
And it keeps picking up everything.
I mean, you can't be selective once you activate that.
Yeah, I think you have to be
ability.
very selective with the use of that.
But
thing.
the thing is, I mean, when you're doing that kind of looting, the way the map is structured, most of that good amounts of loot are going to be near the teleporting stations. And so you're just going to go into a teleporting station. You're going to grab all the loot there. You're going to teleport back to base and then immediately teleport back. And you're just going to move on. That's what I do. I have also discovered that there's actually quite a bit of scummy shit about this game too.
Scummy shit?
Oh, wow.
Yes.
You don't say.
Well, like for example, you have to spend $10 to open up an extra character to play as.
Fuck that. Sorry.
There's a whole like system of like money, like
Oh yeah, like it was
microtransactions,
bad in Phantom Pain. It's worse in
Yeah.
this.
Wonderful.
There's
fucking Konami.
like half of like how you generate like how you earn post game recipes for your base and your soldiers and your weapons is you got one of the warp diggers at your base, and you have to do one of those set defense sequences. He activates and zombies come and you defend and everything.
Like a horde mode.
Yeah, it's a horde mode.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, you do a wave of that, and then it stops, and then you have to wait like 12 or 24 hours of real time.
Like real time, right?
Real time.
That is so fucking...
In order for it to activate again. But you can pay money to
Also,
activate it right then.
Mr. Green Toast brings out, I heard this about this too, they're charging $10 per new save file?
Yeah, you only have
$10
one
per
save
new
file.
character. So yeah, it's new save file.
If you start a new save file, you delete your character. So if you want to keep that character, you have to pay $10 to get a second
Why do
save
you want to
file.
make a new character anyways?
Because Brad, every time you pay $10, a Konami executive takes a pachinko ball and puts it up his butthole.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Well,
Yeah.
what's your motivation for making a new character?
They post that video online. I've been doing that.
Yeah, it's great. And they've also nerfed like the multiplayer drops. Like you could get like, I don't know why legendaries are not the highest level item, but that's beside the point. They used to be able to get that on a normal
This
map
game is besides the point.
if you beat a map on S. But now you don't. You just get rare drops.
I have one question.
But the thing that really drives me to continue on with this are those fucking drops, because the only other member of the community that's been playing this game that I know of is Toast Points, and he's been playing the fucking shit out of it.
That poor motherfucker.
So one of the things I like about this game, and one of the things I like about, for example, RTS games, is the base building aspect. I love being able to build up my base and build up my survivors and build the systems that are built into that. Seeing what I can do with it and what I can unlock and what I can build. And
Mr. Green Toast has been playing it too, by the way.
Oh, thank you, Green Toast. And he was doing some digging through there, and he just showed me a picture, a screenshot of things he just unlocked in like a match. And holy shit, there was content in there I had no fucking idea could even exist in this game. Like there were bear cages and like a horse ranch you could build, and like all these different shit.
A horse ranch?
I want to see what I can do with
like a
this.
But
Stable?
Chris Davis, why?
food.
Because
Why?
I want to see where this game goes. And the thing is, Konami
And you're going to keep
has-
going with it? Beyond
I think I am.
finishing it?
Because the thing is, Konami has said they've got a content plan for this game. They're going to have a bunch of new content in March that they've already announced, like new missions and new modes and things like that. But people have already also data mined the game, and they found like map expansions that are locked in there, like new content and new weapons, new stuff.
Chris,
And, I want to see where this goes.
I gotta admit, aspects of this game might seem somewhat compelling. And the thing is, I see like this narrative out there, and this is why I haven't tried this game. Is that you see
Besides
people
Monster
you see
Hunter.
people who start playing the game like, you know what? sorry guys, this game's actually kind of fun. It's actually kind of dope. Oh, you guys are being mean. I've had a lot of fun. You know, it's not as bad as you say. There's this baggage, and that's why you're hating on it. And then they finish it, and they write their review, and it's like a 6 out of 10. Or it's like a 2 out of 5. And it's like, okay, that's why I'm not playing the fucking thing.
I mean, this
shit ain't getting 9 out of 10 anywhere.
No.
It's not
anywhere.
It's not.
But I wouldn't have given The Division, for example, a 8.
You're goddamn right.
I would probably
shit.
I probably would have given it a 6 out of 10 at launch.
Okay.
Oh my goodness!
But the thing is, the game
guy.
had a fucking content schedule, and it got better and better and better. And today,
liked the structure.
what it is today is like Division 3.0 compared to what it was at launch 2 years ago.
I think you're thinking of Rainbow Six
1.7.
I'm not talking about Rainbow Six Siege. We're not talking about Rainbow
We
Six
do need
Siege.
to move on to the news,
Yeah.
but
I'm just saying.
I applaud you for
Metal
finishing that game.
Metal Gear Survive is not a bad game. If you can get
It's
past
just not
the
a
baggage,
particularly good
it's got
game.
some good things about it. It's just there's also a lot of bad, scummy things about it too.
Hey, wait, I'm playing Mass Effect Andromeda as well, so
Yeah,
know.
but Mass Effect Andromeda isn't nearly as scummy as this.
that's true. Some of that some of that shit is just terrible. Anything else you want to say? We do need to move on to the news.
I beat 10 million. I don't know if people care about that game.
10 million?
That's a fun game.
The fucking puzzle game?
Yeah, it's a dungeon crawler
No.
match 3 hybrid game.
You should play the next one. You got to build a boat.
I heard about that. It
Yeah.
was on sale the other day.
Yeah, play that one.
Yeah.
All right,
Same thing.
moving on to the news. I'm just gonna let you hit us with some overlays. There's only 4 news topics today, but there's some interesting stuff we need to discuss.
How about we just start with this one?
Let's do it. Yes. So, did y'all hear about this? This new game from no one else heard of this?
No.
Great. I had to
Yeah,
try.
I know about it.
Okay, great. The Blackout Club. This is a new co-op horror game that was announced just a couple days ago. It had the development team. The studio itself. I don't think has a name. They've just been kind of talking. They've been discussing it as from guys who worked on BioShock and Dishonored and Thief.
Mm-hmm.
Which is how you often market indie games these days.
Okay,
Yeah.
Co-op horror game.
They could leave
Kickstarters.
Thief out of the games.
Well, like
Anyway.
so
Depends
you're
on the
thinking
version you're talking
of like
about.
classic Thief. You're thinking of the recent
Oh, okay.
one
Like
that was
Looking Glass people? Is this
Yeah.
what we're talking about here?
yeah.
What's the news topic?
Blackout Club. New game announced. Co-op horror game coming in 2019. As far as like, help me out here, Chris. Describe. They haven't said much about what this game. There's a brief trailer on it online, but
I haven't even watched the trailer. I just know about it.
killing me. You guys
I'm sorry.
me.
Yeah, I have no idea what
The
you're talking
visual design.
It has to do. Okay, it has to do with these kids in this town that all realize that so they're blacking out, like they're losing time, and they all realize that they're all losing time at the same time, and they kind of band together to figure out what's happening when they're blacking out. That's why it's called the Blackout Club. But it has some. It seems like it has something to do with like the adults in the town that they live in are like doing some nefarious shit.
They're giving them lots of NyQuil.
The
yes.
kids are blacking out and the adults are doing weird stuff.
maybe a certain TV
God
channel.
damn it! You're
That's what
making
you
this
just
sound.
said.
Okay,
That's what you
that
just
is,
said.
Okay,
It is
then
a
maybe
horror.
I should just tell you to watch
Maybe a
the
certain
trailer.
TV channel comes on at midnight, and just things happen.
This is why I wish y'all would watch the trailer, because
I
I'm
haven't
gonna let
played
it
it
speak
before
for
we-
itself.
we
I'm
should've
pretty
put it on the
sure you're
breakers
just
then.
making all of this shit up. We were short on news topics.
But the thing is, this is a co-op horror game.
It's a co-op horror game with lots of atmosphere. It looks cool. It's from the guys who worked on BioShock and Dishonored. It's worth looking at. I think it's a horror game. I love fucking horror games. And in the past year or two, you've seen a bunch of co-op horror games kind of pop up that have taken off for even if they're not like the greatest.
They're
Like Friday the 13th comes to mind, things like that. But like this seems like
they're
kind of a bigger budget like take on that style of game, and that seems pretty cool. We don't know a whole lot about it. We don't even know the name of the studio that they're working for yet.
I'll watch the trailer, but they made Eldritch. Minor key game.
Wait, what?
Are they looking at like making this like
It's minor key? Is it? Are we sure about that? I don't know.
Are they looking to make this like? Is it story focused or is it like
We don't know.
multiplayer focused?
It's multiplayer.
from the tone of what they were talking
It
about.
sounds like it's both. It's multiplayer focused, but you're working towards the common goal of like unraveling a story.
Okay.
We'll know more about it soon. I just thought it looked pretty cool. I threw it in there as a news topic. Fuck you guys. You guys should watch the trailer. Okay. Anyways, moving right along.
Oh yeah, where did
Chrono
this come
Trigger
from?
is a game I would like to play, but it seems like I'm still not going to. Chrono Trigger got this really weird surprise release on Steam this week, like literally out of nowhere.
Like people were fucking cheering for 5 minutes.
No, this shit isn't new. They've done like the crappy mobile ports on Steam before.
Oh yeah,
they put the Final Fantasy.
Yeah, so here's the thing:
yeah.
like people got really excited. They were like, "Oh shit, Chrono Trigger is available on Steam," only to quickly realize that this is actually a port of the mobile version, even like with the mobile controls.
Yeah,
in it.
Don't play this version, man.
As someone who is still to this day never played Chrono Trigger, like I've played more than like an hour.
Look, there's so many ways to play it legally and illegally. Don't play.
I'm not going to play this version.
You can get a SNES Classic. You can
borrow my SNES Classic.
You can play the one on the DS, which they still sell that game at GameStops, right? Yep. They still sell DS games. Do a search, you'll find it.
I think I played the DS.
Is the DS version sound enough? Like, is that
a lot of people will call that
DS
the
is probably the
definitive version?
Mm-hmm.
The only problem with
does
that
have
is
the anime cutscenes in it?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. The only problem with that is it's in your hand and not on the TV.
Correct.
But if you want on the TV on your nice HD TV, get a SNES Classic.
Like that,
or you just get.
Is that the kind of game that benefits from being on a nice big TV?
I mean.
Listen, it's a classic 16-bit RPG.
I mean,
yeah, like I feel like the bigger screen.
The reason I would suggest a big screen is because when that game came out, it was this big, massive, larger-than-life, epic RPG. It just sucks that just because it looks old, that it should be relegated to a handheld. It's one of the greatest video games of all time.
While I don't
play it on your fucking TV, if
while
you can.
I see your point. And I don't necessarily disagree with you. I do feel like sometimes when you play older games on like a big 4K HD TV, it actually doesn't do.
Well, that's the point of the SNES Classic.
Yeah, because it's 720p.
That goes very well with the HD TVs.
Yeah. That and you get save states because it's on the Classic.
Yeah.
When you buy the SNES Classic, it comes with it, right?
It's on it, yeah.
The SNES Classic has all of those games built in.
No. SNES Classic doesn't have Chrono Trigger. It has Final Fantasy 6, though.
Wait, I think it has Chrono Trigger, doesn't it?
It doesn't have Chrono Trigger.
Oh.
I thought
that's like the one omission, but it's easy to put Chrono Trigger on there.
It had Super Mario RPG.
That shit's too much trouble.
No.
That's shit's too much
I'm not necessarily recommending it to you, but you guys.
I've beaten it twice.
Yeah, or there's emulators, or you can get it off the virtual console. Which, by the way, the Wii has a lot of unique virtual console games that store is going to go away soon, or you're not going to be able to buy games.
What do you think the chances of Chrono Trigger being released on the Switch?
Ugh.
I mean, I know we don't have a virtual console yet.
At all.
How long did it take for a virtual console to pop up for the Wii U? Think about that, and then think about how long it'll take for you.
Probably longer than it took for the Wii U to die.
I'm just going to get the goddamn DS version because I do want to play this game.
It's really good. I mean,
in fact, I had it at one point. I had it in my possession, and I think I may have traded it in.
Nick,
I know.
I don't know how you could turn that game off if you understand the concept of what this game is about.
I know the concept.
We spent too much time. This is a news topic.
Chrono Cross, please.
Let's move on. Next news topic.
Okay.
News topic.
Fuck Square Enix for being lazy.
Yeah, that is
once again.
That I would have picked that up in a heartbeat if that was not the shitty mobile version. Okay, so last week we talked about Hunt Showdown, which it's on my radar now. I'm very excited for that game. It's a Crytek game.
Brad, did you catch any of that conversation?
I did, yeah.
That game,
it's a PUBG like.
I mean, 50%
that's not doing it justice.
It's not. I know. I'm kidding.
I think Hunt looks like it has a lot of potential, which is it was released in early access last week, which is kind of a strange. This is seems like a strange move to make a week after this game kind of hit early access. Has been picking up steam. Has been getting some good word of mouth. The CEO of Crytek, I'm going to butcher his name, Cevat Yerli.
Sure, why not?
Has stepped down, and his brothers will be replacing him as joint CEOs of the company. I feel like this kind of thing.
I mean, you got to understand what has been happening with Crytek in the past.
Yeah,
2 years.
they were 2 seconds from shutting down completely.
I know it's been rough.
They lost almost all. They had
they
8
launched
studios at once. Now they're down to 2.
They launched a cryptocurrency, which is pretty much the last ditch effort to try to save your business these days.
And Atari's
about to launch a cryptocurrency.
Yeah, like he's not.
I'm serious.
He
It's
is
crazy.
not a good manager. At one point, like 5 years
But his
ago,
brothers are like his brothers have been involved with the company up until this
but
point
not nearly
too.
as much as
Yeah.
him. Okay,
Gotcha.
like at 1.5 years ago, he wanted the entire direction of
1.5?
all of Crytek to go to free to play stuff.
Oh Jesus!
Like no other games but fucking free to play shit. And that's why we got Warface, and that's why Warface is a piece of shit. But
wait,
the-
wait.
you-
What was
you
it
also
called?
gotta realize-
You mean Warframe?
no, Warface.
Warface. But isn't Warface popular in some places, parts
Like
of the world?
Exactly,
it's
Nick.
grown more popular in
Exactly.
like I don't know, China maybe, but
Man,
it
I don't
has
even know
no
what that is.
it has no presence in the US or in Europe.
Warface has nothing on Taserface. I'll say that.
But there's also, you have to realize that the company was in such fucking financial bad shape. Like last year, Crytek employees were getting their checks like 3 months late.
Yeah, I remember that. They couldn't afford to pay their employees.
Yeah.
Hey, let's just say it's been rough for Crytek recently. I think Hunt Showdown has been kind of the first surprise good thing that's
Is
happened
this like
to
a
the
big
company.
Twitch thing? I have not really seen
What?
Twitch
Hunt Showdown?
lately.
It's had a little bit of a presence.
No.
I wouldn't say it's like PUBG size
No.
or
If you did not listen to our
it's
conversation,
also only an alpha, so I mean.
yeah.
if you did not listen to our conversation last week, maybe go listen to it or watch the video from last week so you can watch the footage of it.
I think it's got a bigger YouTube presence than Twitch, honestly.
It seems
Probably.
really cool. But yeah, I think this is one. It's kind of, it's. I guess we could have seen it coming given the situation Crytek has been in. To have it happen right after starting to get some positive, upswing seems kind of strange. But at the same time, like maybe this is what the company needs to kind of get it back on track.
Maybe.
It's been a long time since Crytek has been known for doing the kinds of projects it made its name on.
I
Things
think,
like Crysis.
I think this was like their way to actually start getting some investments and more capital now.
That's right. Actually, I forgot to mention that there was an investor that dumped a bunch of capital into Crytek recently, and no one knows who the investor is.
Ooh.
But I kind of brought them
D.B.
back.
Cooper.
It's the mob. It's the KGB.
$200,000.
Yeah.
Nah, it's Elon Musk.
But yeah, so
Elon
like
Musk,
someone
he's-
out there seems to be keen on making sure Crytek stays afloat. I kind of hope they do. I actually do like some of the stuff that studio does. I just think they've kind of lost their way the past few years.
I just really hope they rework how they're handling the CryEngine.
I mean,
Because that's
gotta
where
be
they've been
part of
putting
it.
most of their money the past several years. Not in game development but
Licensing
putting
out
out
the
this
engine.
licensing out this engine. But they haven't been doing it at competitive pricing where developers see the value and actually going to do it with what the system's capable.
yeah, that's why you still see.
Well, that's because that was like a race to the bottom, and now like you're either like giving away your engine for free, or
It's either like Unity or some people are doing UE4. It's like
I mean, I've seen UE4 quite frequently.
I mean,
so-
UE4 is like the standard middleware engine today, but it's becoming less popular in the face of smaller things like Unity.
I don't know.
Which are becoming
We'll
increasingly more.
We'll see where this goes. I just think this is kind of an interesting turn for Crytek. What else we got? Chris Davis.
Okay.
I think it's so fucking funny that Fortnite blew up, because Epic, they bought Chair back in the day,
Yeah.
and Chair was like they created Shadow Complex, and that was like fucking incredible, right?
Yeah.
But then they did like their mobile phone game. What was that called? Infinity Blade.
Infinity Blade.
And it
Yeah.
blew up, and that was at a time when,
And it got
when
two
mobile games
sequels.
were becoming really big, and they
Didn't
made
get an
so much
arcade
money.
machine?
They made so much money that they're like, why would we do Shadow Complex again? Now, like they in Epic bought them, and now Epic was like doing maybe not great, right? And Gears of War and all that stuff,
Oh,
and now
Epic
all of
was
a sudden
doing poorly.
Fortnite, this thing that people didn't even realize still existed,
Yeah.
blew up into this thing that obviously they could have never expected this success.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like bigger than PUBG now.
Well, the
pretty
battle
big.
royale mode, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. And
Which is not what Fortnite was originally even intending to be.
Yeah.
And now Epic's probably scrambling,
Yeah.
pulling everybody off of like anything that they ever had any self-respect making.
No, that's what they've
and
done.
throwing them onto Fortnite, and
Yeah.
it's like, good luck ever even seeing another fucking Gears of War, you fuckers. Sorry.
They didn't make Gears of War 4.
Yeah, but I mean that was
the Coalition.
is that Gears of War Microsoft owned?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They
So
bought
th-
it
so-
like
so
after
that's not
after
even-
Judgment.
Epic involved.
Epic has no hand in that anymore.
Interesting.
So,
whatever the hell Epic.
Moving
does.
on, next news topic. Detroit Become Human has a release date of May 25th now, which is not a whole lot to say. I think that's cool. I'm glad it's coming out fairly soon. I do want to play that.
About damn time.
I think that I didn't mention it in the overlay here, but I don't know if y'all saw the box art for it. That was also say it is bad.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, it is ugly.
To the Googles.
It's like Arkham City bad.
No, it's which
not Arkham
Detroit
City
Become
Game of the
Human?
Year bad,
Yes,
but Arkham
Brad.
City bad.
You're overselling it. It's not like
It's not very good. Like
it's
nobody
not fucking phalanx.
It looks like a cover for a rap album.
does it. I guess it kind of does.
Y'all are like blowing this way out of proportion.
I mean, it's just like I just some of the cover art decisions that we make here in the States are just awful. I mean, I'm sure they make those kinds of decisions. Yeah. It's just a close up of half of a dude's face.
But an obvious Android face.
I do like the fact that you can kind of see the
contours.
The contours are like where his
I think
face is put together.
I think that's the point.
I know, but I don't know. I feel like there would have been better ways. It's a face. It's just annoying. But yeah, it's coming out May 25th. I'm pretty excited to play this.
The same day as Solo.
True, that is true. I don't know. Is everybody still on board to play this game?
Yes.
Yeah.
I played it at E3
I'm only
and it was
asking
fucking great.
I'm mostly only asking because of all the weird fucking shit that's been coming out of Quantic Dream.
Have they talked about any like pro support for it? What it can specifically do?
What does it matter?
I'm just curious.
Well, he's asking because he just got a pro.
I know
and
he
he
just
wants
got a pro, but what does it matter? Whatever. It'll be a good
just
game.
fucking Redbox the games. They don't get any fucking money. I don't know. I mean, there are ways to.
That's not entirely fair. Not everybody at Quantic Dream.
It's all personal beliefs, but if you want to try to rationalize it to yourself, then come up with an interesting way to balance out your personal views versus all this bullshit that's happening with them.
Fair enough.
Yep.
Or don't.
I don't really care. I'm going to play it. We'll be talking about that at the end of May. I hope it's not a train wreck.
Beyond Two Souls a PS3 game or PS4?
Both.
Yeah, both.
Really?
It was in that time
Yes,
frame.
they ported it to PS4.
It originally came out on PS3, and I think they ported it to PS4.
Man.
Oh, that's right. The PS4 version had like the actual linear timeline.
Yeah.
Right?
Interesting. All right. Is there another news topic?
No, that's
it. Okay. There was something I know Brad wanted to bring up.
Oh yeah. So earlier this week, or was it last week? Sega. Earlier this week, Sega was like, hey, and this was like known. This was coming because they were like, hey, we know we're delaying Yakuza 6, but there's going to be this big giant demo.
Yeah.
That everyone can download. It's not just a demo. You download the full game and you can play up to a certain point in the game, and all that progress will carry over. So you can basically start the game now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And finish it down the line or whatever, right? Well, they uploaded the wrong thing, and it's just the game. So anyone who downloaded this demo actually just downloaded this game that doesn't even come out till like April 15th or some date in mid-April.
Yeah.
So people are playing the full version of a game that's over a month and a half away, and Sega, it's just a huge fuck up on Sega's part, because imagine the people who find out about this and were like, oh, I gotta go fucking download it. Those are the Yakuza fans who were gonna buy this shit day one, right?
Yep.
And the funny thing is I told these guys, like, download that Yakuza demo, we can talk about it on the podcast.
Brad.
I know.
From the time the demo came out to the time they brought it down, I was at work working.
Well, I mean, you can still
also
download the shit.
When you told us about this, it was like at the tail end of that time frame.
I'm not one to take
that's not true.
advantage
That's not
of situations like this.
It was up for a while.
Or am I?
It was up for a while because Sega didn't know. Because you could play the game up to a certain point, and it wasn't until they realized, like, wait, that person's in Chapter 3. They're not supposed to be in Chapter 3. So it took a while. It took a while for them to figure it out, and
so I'm
just-
assuming they've somehow locked it down.
oh,
right?
it's gone.
Yeah, it's
No,
gone.
but like
No,
people
they-
who
they-
already downloaded it.
Oh, so today, I believe today, they finally pulled the license.
Yeah, they pulled the
which
keys,
means if
so-
you're connected to the internet, like what happened with PT, I think that happened with PT.
No, it didn't happen with
No,
PT.
not with PT.
I saw
No, it
PT.
didn't happen with PT, but it's happened.
Otherwise,
with,
PS4s would be a
it's
lot
happened
more
with other
valuable.
stuff that accidentally got released before.
Yeah.
So they pulled the license, which means it doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
But if you disconnect it from the internet, which a lot of people assumed that this was going to happen, that they'd pull the license.
They just turned off their connection.
Yeah, they just turned off their connection, and
Yeah.
they're playing the full final version of Yakuza 6, which is done. I mean, the game's been out, in Japan for over a year, so it's not like, the game is janky and needs more patches, right? The game's done.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's just funny that this happened. Like, who makes that fuck up?
Well, they
I feel bad for them.
Somebody had a heart attack when they realized what they did, I'm sure.
They fucked it up with the best of intentions, though.
And it's just funny because it's so
Because
far
what they wanted
away.
to do was you could transfer your save from the demo.
Yeah,
to the
I
final
really
game.
like that concept.
Yeah, it's really cool.
That would have been so.
I don't know if they're going to re-upload the actual demo, or is it just so much
They
shame?
probably will. They'll find a way to patch that.
I mean, I hope so, because I kind of want to play. I kind of regret not getting it. The only reason I didn't download the demo is because I played the Japanese demo a year ago.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'll just wait for it, right?
Yeah.
Joke's on you,
I
Brad.
could just play Kiwami, and I wasn't going to be on the podcast, so.
And I didn't download it because I was at fucking work.
Well, you could still download stuff to your PS4.
And I was going to download it as soon as I got home.
Well, I mean, do it from the store.
While I'm working?
Yeah. Oh, well,
Brad, how often do I respond to you on Discord when
do
I'm
it
at
from your
work?
phone.
I'm fucking busy.
We get regularly
Let's move
admonished by
on.
Nolan for
I
messaging
think
on
it's
work.
time.
Well,
You were a big
can I
Yakuza
just
0.
mention
Yes.
30 seconds, couple more news topics that popped up today.
29, 27.
Evidently, Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare 3 was leaked because, get this, there's an Amazon listing for a novelization of a Bridge the Gap thing between the 2 and 3.
Wow.
Yeah. And then VentureBeat confirmed today that the next Battlefield game is going to be called Battlefield V, or Battlefield 5, whatever.
Battlefield Vagina. Yeah.
Battlefield V has come to. And that it's a World War II game.
Ugh.
So it's
So, yeah.
basically just going to be, they did World War I last time,
Yeah.
World War II this time.
So,
Makes
What
perfect
is their
sense.
deal?
see, 30 seconds. There you go.
All right,
There you go.
moving on.
Community.
It's time for the community.
Before we let you get started on questions, I want to quickly announce. And I honestly don't think either one of these people are in chat right now, but I could be wrong. Our winners for the giveaways in January and February. I'll be reaching out to both of these people to offer them their prize.
Winners
For
must
January-
be present to win.
For January, our winner is... Now, this is actually a person who left a comment on one of our podcasts on the site. And I don't think they have a chat name. At least I don't know what it is. It's Sean G. He's asked questions before.
Mm-hmm.
I see him periodically. Sean G. I'll be reaching out to you soon to offer you a game.
Thankfully, it's not John G.
Jekyll Hybrid.
I have his full name. I feel weird like saying people's first and last. Like they're.
No, that's fine.
But then again, their name on the
I was
site
making a
is
reference
first.
that no one got.
I got it. John
Thank
G. raped and murdered my wife.
Thank you, Brad.
What?
Whoa.
What is that from?
Memento.
Oh,
He only says it like 40 times.
I
in
know,
the
but
movie.
I've never
I haven't
seen
seen the
Memento.
movie in like 10
I
years.
guess. And Sean G sounds a lot like John G.
Gotcha. Good reference. Good
Spoilers
reference.
for chat.
I think. See, these are the kinds of things I think we need to clear up. I think a lot of people didn't realize also that the Butters thing you keep saying is a South Park.
Yes. Calling Butters a black asshole?
Yes, that's the one.
Yeah, it's a reference to South Park.
Anyways, sorry. Where was I? Sean G. Yes, that's the winner for January. February is Fourth Horseman. We know
okay.
Fourth Horseman. I don't
He
think
just
Fourth-
asked a question today on today's,
Yeah,
or left
so
a feedback last week, yeah.
Yeah, so Fourth Horseman, you are our winner for February. I'll be reaching out to both of you to offer you a game of your choosing up to a $60 value. Remember, all you have to do to enter in these giveaways every month is leave us feedback for any of our episodes that we do on the site at 4playernetwork.com, or retweet our podcast when the post goes out every week.
Yep.
Anyways, sorry. Without further ado,
Yeah,
Let's
we have
do
one
it.
new patron this week.
hell yeah.
Kyle P.
Kyle P.
Kyle.
Thank you, Kyle P.
Yeah, I appreciate
You
it.
are the best patron.
Unfortunately, Kyle P didn't ask any questions this week, but
What?
plenty of other patrons did, so let's get to some of those. Umos asks, which game's multiplayer community is/was the friendliest?
Friendliest?
the friendliest?
I see. I think Monster Hunter's really friendly in general.
Man, I don't play enough co-op games or multiplayer games to kind of get a sense for how nice the communities are. I feel like is Rocket League
Neither
pretty
do I,
friendly?
but I've heard. No, nothing that popular is friendly.
Anything really
Anything
competitive?
that competitive or
No.
popular usually is filled with 13-year-old fucking assholes.
Oh, okay.
Honestly, I would say The Last of Us. I actually had a lot of really good experience with random people.
Yeah.
Because anytime you encountered someone that actually used a fucking mic, they're like, "Oh, thank God, someone has a mic in this game."
Yeah.
Someone can talk to me.
And I actually have multiple people on my friends list are people that I play Last of Us with.
Yeah.
Roland in chat has got a good one. Journey.
Journey.
Because I can't talk.
I guess.
Yeah. Actually, it's pretty nice.
You're gonna. I would honestly say like the co-op levels for the Division. Like you stay out of the dark zone. Look, you stay out of the dark zone, and there's like very nice people that you play with. I am serious.
Very nice young girls.
Okay.
Fuck you.
I was thinking about that the other day.
Way to go
for some
full
reason.
circle.
Yeah.
That you were thinking about nice young girls.
I mean,
Oh,
are you
you're-
talking
wow.
to these people?
Okay, Chris Davis.
Yeah.
With
Yes.
mics?
Yes.
Okay.
We're having conversations.
I mean,
There's a
you
guy
gotta
coming over
think
here.
though, like anybody's still
We're
playing
talking
the
about
Division.
like build theory and
they're
things
like in the
that.
trenches, right? They're like, I can't shake it, man. It's like two druggies, you know.
Fuck you.
Whatever.
Shooting each other up.
Yeah,
What
shut
about,
each other up.
All right.
Also, Civilization.
You got one, Nick?
Civilization doesn't have an online queue. Play Civilization.
It does.
No one plays multiplayer in Civ.
Yes, they do.
I didn't even know that.
My roommate plays nightly with a group of our friends.
No one does that.
Nick, did you have a game?
Well, you're wrong.
I said Rocket League, and I was quickly corrected that
Yep.
Rocket League players are assholes.
Yep.
So,
All right, moving on. Mr. Green Toast. What is the most disgusting thing you have ever seen someone do in public? For example,
Oh no!
I once saw a woman
I don't want an example.
holding a toddler, and the toddler had a runny nose / cold. And someone said, "Oh, your baby needs a tissue. Here, let me get one." And the mom was like, "Oh, don't worry about it." And she put her mouth
Oh,
over the
no.
baby's nose and sucked the snot out of him.
oh, it's so fucking disgusting.
Like I knew what you were gonna say.
like an
I just
oyster.
didn't want to hear it.
Like a fucking oyster.
She didn't even use the nose Frida. The straw.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. That is the grossest thing I think I've ever heard.
Can we cut this shit out of the?
No, hell no. That is the best part.
I'm pretty sure that woman could go to jail.
Okay, I'm kind of with Big Baz on that one. That cannot be real.
I don't believe it.
I can.
I don't believe it.
Wasn't it Sarah Michelle Gellar that would like chew up her food and then spit it
No.
in her baby's mouth?
No,
No, it wasn't. Who was it?
Alicia
Alicia
Silverstone.
Silverstone.
Do not defame Sarah
Sorry, I
Michelle
couldn't
Gellar.
remember. It was a popular blonde young woman from the 90s.
I saw her in something recently.
Alicia Silverstone?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Uh,
Batgirl?
oh no, the killing of sacred deer.
Oh, whatever that is.
Yeah.
Anyway, so two different like bodily functions I've seen. One time I was in Houston, I saw a guy, homeless probably, on like the side of a freeway, just drop trow and take a dump.
Okay, my story.
And the other one, real quick, when I was doing my first, I was doing a half marathon, February something 2010. Marathon starts. It's early in the morning. I'm running. It's cold, but I'm running. And running. You get kind of halfway through, and I'm like, man, I gotta take a piss. And I see some like porta potties, and I'm like, fuck it, I'll go. They have them set up. And then I see there's like this like grassy area next to the porta potties, and people, I guess some didn't want to wait. And a lady just runs up, squats, like pulls her shorts to the side, just starts peeing like right there. And then she kind of does a wiggle, and then she just starts running again.
Jesus Christ.
That sounds
man.
like what's going on in Colorado. The
Oh,
serial shitter.
The serial.
Oh,
I
really?
read about that. This like jogger who keeps running through neighborhoods and taking dumps on people's front yards.
What the fuck?
And they've caught her on camera like 2 or 3 times.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
that's
they
a
haven't
thing.
identified her.
Yeah.
And they're like, there are public cries for
I feel like they
please
have to. They have
track
to at
her
this point.
down.
Okay, I have 2 quick stories.
Okay.
One, kind of similar to Nolan's. I was in San Francisco for like literally less than 24 hours, and I witnessed someone, probably homeless. I came walking out of a bar, and it's like a big, giant, wide sidewalk. And in the middle of the sidewalk, they had these like elevated like gardens, right? They're like like I don't know, chest high gardens that were like surrounded with concrete pillars, right? And I walk out of this bar. I take about 10 steps out of the bar, and I just turn my head to the right, and man like drops trow, bends over, grabs himself like behind his knees, right, to get leverage.
Sure.
And just like sprays onto the side of the wall, and I was just like, it was so traumatizing.
Wow.
I've seen a bathroom completely covered in spray shit. The walls, the ceiling, everywhere. There's literally shit sprayed.
My
Everywhere.
My sister, her first job, like she's a nurse. Her first job as like in that kind of profession was at a retirement home.
Oh no!
And she was saying she's like, I don't understand how these old people just get it everywhere. Like it's all over the walls, and she had to like clean it up.
That takes skill.
They don't care anymore.
Okay,
Yeah.
last one. This happened with like less than a year ago, or no, just over a year ago. I was at my company did like a getaway thing. It was this big hotel. It had a water park.
I know where this is going.
On site, right? And one of the it's like a big. They had a big tall water slide, right? You have to walk up these like spiral stairs to get to the top. And they had two slides. One that they go straight down, and then they had one of the ones where they like you stand on the thing and then they just drop you, right? So I'm walking up the stairs, and my friend told me he was gonna go wait at the end of the slide because he had a new camera. He's like, I'm gonna take like slow-mo shots of coming down the slide. It'd be cool, right? He wanted to. So he sends me up the slide, right? So I go up the stairs, and I'm walking behind this couple. And I get about halfway up the stairs, and I start to smell something. And I look up, and the girl that's walking like literally like 3 feet in front of me, holding hands with her boyfriend, had like shit herself. This is like an adult, too.
Maybe she thought it was a fart.
Yeah.
Yeah. A little more came out than she was
Yeah,
expecting.
and I was like, first of all, what went through my head was when she gets to the top, there's already like 30 people waiting to go down the slide. Someone's gonna have to tell her, and I don't want to be around for that. And two, if nobody tells her, I certainly don't want to go down the slide. So I just
Cut in front of her.
So I just turned around and went back down the stairs, and I realized the people seeing me run probably think it was me, but I was like, they'll realize.
Yeah.
They're gonna keep going. They'll realize. I'm not even worried. So I get to the bottom of the stairs, and my friend's like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "We've gotta go. We've gotta go." Because I was like, if no one tells her, we're gonna see her come down the slide here in a second, and that's not gonna be pretty. So I was like, I gotta get the fuck out of here. Gotta get out of here.
I would have waited to watch.
Of course you would, Nolan. God damn it.
All right, moving on.
Sorry. They asked, just for the record.
That is
this
true.
person asked the question. I just answered it.
Why did you do this to us?
Moving on. Next question from Gonzo Lewd. I recently took a DNA test to see what my blood heritage is, and the results were
Lewd?
Great Britain 44%, Ireland, Scotland, Wales 26%, Scandinavia 17%, Iberian Peninsula. What's that?
Iberian?
Yeah.
That's south of Spain.
9% Europe West 3%, Caucasus?
Caucasian?
No.
So you're a white dude.
Caucasus 1%. Have any of you taken a DNA test, and do you know what your heritage is?
I have not taken
No.
the DNA test myself.
I have not.
I've got some Welsh heritage.
Well, we know Gonzo's white, yeah. That's for sure.
White as hell. I don't know why I've never
Big
been
Bass.
like super interested to find out my heritage.
That you're white?
I mean, I know I'm white. I'm about as white. The only so like outside of my parents who both grew up in the States, like the only outside of the States heritage that I know of is my grandmother was born in Canada.
Jesus Christ.
So it's
He's
like,
even whiter than we thought.
I know. So it's like I don't think I need anyone to tell me.
Oh wow!
How white I am.
I know, like my on my mother's side, her family is from Ireland. On my father's side, my father's family is from Germany. Like they came here from Germany, and then somewhere on my dad's mom's side, there's Native American somewhere back in there. I'm sure it's like 1/100th or something. I'm sure it's not a lot, but I do know I'm related to Daniel Boone.
Oh, top of the morning.
Okay.
Anybody else have an answer for this
No,
question?
this is so boring.
Well,
None of us have officially done it though. I might
None of
now.
us have done it.
I thought
in
about
real
it this
life.
past
Well, we
Black
know how
Friday
Brad
because
feels
there was
about
all
it.
those people doing like, oh, the ancestry, whatever, like cheap, like. And I thought about it, but I didn't do it.
I mean, we're kind of too young to really think about that and have the time to do that.
I guess I know what Bernadette is.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Both of our parents are from the Philippines. I'm sure there's some Spanish maybe way back in, like, but that's like hundreds and hundreds of years ago, so I don't know if that would even show up. I mean, I don't know. DNA's kind of crazy, so.
Certainly.
Next question from Zero Sky. Since I'm at Emerald City Comic-Con, what video game or series would you like to see in comic book form? I would personally like some more Nier stories.
Man, first of all, Nier would be a good choice, but I don't read enough comics to really... I don't know. I've never sat there and thought about, like, oh, this would make a great comic. Usually it's the other way around. I see a comic and be like, oh, I'd rather just watch that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know it's probably...
I think
Don't tell Crispy I said that.
I played a fighting game recently, Fighter Z. I think that would make a pretty good comic.
The Last of Us.
Dragon Ball Fighter Z, I think it's called.
The Last of Us, I think, would be a good comic.
Last was...
It's all
That
story.
probably is a comic, though. Like, so many of
Yes.
these games have, like, oh, we're doing a comic.
Yeah, they'll do like marketing tie-ins. Like
Yeah.
fucking
I
Devil
guess
May
that's
Cry?
true.
Metal
Yeah.
Gear Solid had one.
Yeah.
You know?
I just thought of a news topic we forgot.
What?
The changes to PlayStation Plus.
Oh, yeah. Forgot about that.
Yeah,
Maybe mention it in your 4-player minute?
maybe.
The Witcher? Witcher, I'm sure, has a comic,
It
right?
does.
Probably,
It does.
And they started talking about they've started confirming all the characters in the new Netflix Witcher show. I mean, not really surprising, but they named like 20 characters from The Witcher that are confirmed to be in the
Look
show.
into that. All right, moving on. Wingless. Is anybody here excited for the new 3D Realms game, Ion Maiden?
Iron Maiden.
Ion Maiden. I wanted to say Iron Maiden, like my
That's what
brain
they were
is-
going.
Ion.
That's what
I
they
know,
were going
I know.
for.
I thought it was Iron Maiden as
It
well.
just released in early access yesterday and will have full release sometime later this year. Who really knows anymore these days? But looks super awesome.
It does look cool. I don't know.
I'll maybe pick up the full release.
Yeah, I'm trying to stay
Well,
away
it's
from
gonna be more
early
expensive
access
with that, though.
games.
That's gonna be for me. That's gonna be purely word of mouth. If that
Yeah.
people rave about it, I'll probably play it. I don't really.
I'm
typically
somewhat skeptical.
I'll talk about it next week because I'm gonna play it.
This is kind of like classic Duke Nukem engine, right?
It's
Yes.
it's the build engine.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
yeah.
Which is,
I mean, it sounds cool.
from an era where shooters were so dope. So hopefully
Moving
it's
on. Next question first from Sir Thomas Thipple.
good. Did you ever think that maybe it's Thomas Thipple? I mean, it's spelled the same. Right? Or
Sir
Thomas
Thomas
Tipple?
Thipple.
He can
Thomas
correct us
Tipple?
next week.
Maybe it's Thomas Tipple.
Sir Thomas Thipple.
Who's
So-
a god tier actor you'd like to see as a lead role in a video game? Let's assume that they are really good at voice acting just to make it simpler. I'd go with either Michael Big Dick Fassbender or Ryan Baby Goose Gosling.
John C. Reilly.
That'd be good.
Ken Watanabe.
Okay.
What? He's a good actor.
What's the last thing you seen fucking Ken Watanabe?
Yeah.
I mean, he had stomach cancer for several years.
Okay.
Okay,
jeez.
who is that?
Ken Watanabe?
Yeah.
He's a Japanese actor. He's been in many things. He was in Inception, right?
Inception. Yeah.
He was in
in
Inception.
Inception.
On the
He was the
plane.
Asian man.
Last Samurai.
Yeah, he was in the Last
Samurai.
Samurai. He was fucking in Dragon Ball.
Oh God.
Was that
Yeah,
hold on,
Master Roshi.
was that Ken Watanabe, right?
No, that
No.
was Chow Yun Fat.
That was Chow Yun Fat. Okay. I'm trying to remember. It's been
Wait,
so long
did you
since I've
just
seen
bring up the Dragon Ball live action
that. Well,
movie?
I'm trying to remember.
You son of a bitch.
What else has Ken Watanabe been in recently?
I think he was in Yakuza.
I
God.
mean, again, he was suffering from stomach cancer for like the past 3 years. He has only recently recovered.
So god tier
I
actor
didn't
would
know
see
you
his,
edited his fucking fan page, man.
I know, right? Jesus.
He's a good actor.
somebody in chat just said Danny DeVito.
Sam Rockwell.
Only if he does Detective Pikachu.
Sam Rockwell.
Oh man.
There's too much of like a character actor though. Like, what would his game even be?
But he would probably be a bad guy.
Okay, probably.
Where he's unlikable.
Yeah.
Possibly redeems himself.
See, Steve Buscemi.
Charming yet still unlikable.
Yeah. Gilbert Gottfried?
Okay, well, where are we? Where are we? Even
Yeah,
at?
let's move
There's
on.
been some pretty good answers here, I think.
yeah.
I'll just leave it at that.
Next question from Chai. For Nick, come up with a game where you fight Dinosaur. No, I'm kidding. Okay, that's why.
Yeah, because I said last week one of the questions was what kind of questions do you not like?
Yeah.
And that was my answer. I don't
Play
like
Monster Hunter. if you
Nolan
want
has
to
mentioned
play
Lost in
dinosaurs.
Blue a few times in the last podcast, and he's the only person I've ever heard that's played it, or even heard of it. Is there a game that you enjoy playing that you are convinced nobody else has ever heard of? And will that game for Chris Davis, and will that game for Chris Davis in 5 years be Getaven?
Can I just name something really old?
Possibly, but I
Yeah,
mean,
you probably
something
could.
like something like Lost in Blue is something that came out a long time ago, but it wasn't a super popular game.
Yeah,
but
it didn't find its audience.
Yeah,
Man, I don't know if I have anything like that.
BC's Quest for Tires.
there you go. That's a good one.
I don't know what the fuck that is.
I played it when I was a little kid.
I like a lot of. I tend to like latch on to like a lot of like B or C tier games and like that most people don't like. But I don't think I outright like anything a lot.
Is that be something
But
you like?
That is not fucking true.
that's
I
not the
bet not a lot of
question.
people played that Bourne game that you played.
There you go.
But people
The
know
Bourne
it exists.
Conspiracy?
I forgot it existed.
I bought and played it. Yeah,
You would.
yeah, I
You
did.
bought it?
Hey, I
mean,
bought
I
it.
get why he
It was
bought
a
it.
good demo.
It was a pretty.
I
Good
bought it
demo.
because it was a
No.
good demo.
It was a pretty good demo.
No.
Yeah, it was.
Hey, let's not sit here and debate. We all know what kind of game that is. Let's move on.
The answer
But
to
like,
that is not good.
Sure.
Yeah, I remember-
if you want that to be my answer, that'll be my answer.
Was Work Time Fun popular?
Chaos Mud?
There we go. What about is Nightmare Creatures? Does that fall into that category? I feel like people know about
No, that was relatively.
I guess
No.
my other game was a good one because no one fucking knew what I was talking
Say it
about.
again?
Work Time Fun.
Yeah,
Oh,
no.
no, that one's
No,
cool.
I know of it.
Okay.
Just-
Work Time Fun, that's kind of like WarioWare, right?
Kind of, yeah.
James Bond Bloodstone. I like that game, but I feel like a lot of people don't realize that exists.
It
Yeah.
says
What was
James
it?
Bond.
Yo, but like that, like if, I bet most people. Well,
It did kill a studio.
yeah, Bizarre Creations.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Next question from
Yeah.
Brucey the Wizard. Hey guys, what's one activity on your bucket list that you hope to take off in 2018? Shout out from the Great Barrier Reef. Oh, cool.
Oh, nice.
Were you typing this while you were on
I
the
keep
Great Barrier Reef?
forgetting. I mentioned this a few weeks ago. I'd love to hear where people are from when they like
Yeah.
leave us questions and stuff. It's just
Yeah.
interesting. So yeah, that's cool. Oh man, bucket list. Man, I should maybe make.
I've
a bucket
always
list,
wanted
huh?
a dog.
Hey, you got that taken care of.
Oh, that's my answer too.
I really have no answer for this. I'm not thinking about.
I would
bucket
see. The
list
thing is,
things
I
right
would
now.
like to. I would like to like. I don't know if this is like bucket list, but I would like to travel to Europe and like tour Europe. But I know that's not going to happen this year. Maybe next year at the earliest.
Just do it.
It's complicated. I can't do it this year.
There's no way I'm going to become a homeowner in Austin this year. Because
Just do it.
You
that.
should get on that sooner than later, Chris Davis.
Just
to
pull the
afford
trigger.
to live in Austin and buy a home, you have to live in Kyle.
I would
starting.
Like to, I would like to go to the video game Motherland,
Yeah?
What's that?
Japan.
Yeah.
Oh, duh.
What's
yeah.
that?
No, I would love to go to Japan
No, I want to go to Japan in 2020.
for the Olympics.
So I can go to Japan and go to an Olympics.
You know, I was in China when they ran through they brought the torch. Yeah.
Hmm.
Anyways,
Cool. Final question this evening from Dishwasher. I work in the slot machine industry, and it's constantly referred to as the, quote, gaming industry.
Yeah.
Do you guys gamble when
No.
given the chance? Ever visit casinos there in Texas, East Eagle Pass and Livingstone, for those that doubt me? I can picture Nick and Brad in the casino. Nolan and Crispy, I'm not sure. Chris Davis, I doubt would ever even consider it. Am I far off?
No, you're very far off, actually.
I went to a casino.
I've talked about it on the podcast multiple times, like going to casinos.
Like, I've gone to Vegas several times, and I just budget myself. Or my grandmother used to love to go to the horse track, and I would go with her. And
I went
fucking
horses.
hate casinos. They're so depressing. I just want to kill myself.
I mean, they can be.
I went to a casino once in Pittsburgh, and I did it for. We went there for like an hour. I spent like $30 or something like that, and then left. And I was like, I think that's
Like Chris
that
Davis
was.
said.
I can scratch that one off my bucket. It just,
I budget.
Smelled like cigarettes.
Yeah, it
and-
does. Yeah, they do. Yeah.
Yeah.
I budget myself. I think the last time Bert and I went to Vegas for our 1 year anniversary. And yeah, I said like $200. That's
Yeah,
what I'm going in
that's what I
with.
do.
I'm fine spending all of that. But yeah, like Brad was saying, there'd be times I'm at like a machine. Like there was a Simpsons like slot machine, and it was kind of fun.
See,
We were
that's,
doing it.
That's one of the fun things. You go and find out all the like weirdo, like
Yeah.
new.
So I'm
machines.
playing it. It's fun, but the person next to me is just like, and they're losing, and they'll put another 20, and they're like,
Oh,
Yeah.
And you're just
Once you
watching-
realize that so many of those people are gambling addicts,
yeah.
you just want to kill yourself.
Well, I don't.
Well, I do.
Okay.
man, that's brutal.
But yeah. But I'm not big on tables. I get nervous playing
Yeah,
at the
I-
tables.
And I don't know enough about cards to.
But yeah, that's it. That's all the questions this week. Thanks for all our patrons for asking those. Pretty much all good questions. There was one that was iffy. But yeah, every week we post that thread on Patreon. You can ask us any question you want
All
as
it takes
long
is-
as you donate at least $1.
$1 per month.
Yep.
We'll get you ability to ask us questions and it gets you 24-hour early access to all of our podcasts without ads. Worth mentioning. So yeah, patreon.com/4players where you can find out more about that. But now it is time to wrap up our show with our 4-player minute.
Hey, I'll go first, Nick.
Brad's going to go first. Hype, sweat, thank you, fuck you, or however the fuck you want to do it.
I'm going to go ahead and give my hype to the Behemoth's new game, which comes out tomorrow. Pit People.
Pit People.
Which has been in development forever because they take forever to make their games, but it's sort of a tactical game, and that's sort of the theme of the week. But Pit People looks really good. It looks funny. I'm going to get it. Yeah, that's going to be cool.
Was their last game really Battle Block Theater?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my
Damn.
god!
Yep.
I have never heard any group of people get louder playing a game than when Nolan, Bernadette, Marcus
Okay,
and
you're off topic. You're off topic.
playing that fucking game.
My sweat is for Ni no Kuni 2, which comes out this month. You know, I want to be excited. I watch a lot of videos. It kind of almost looks like a spiritual successor to Dark Cloud in some ways. But, I watched a video of like the first, half hour of the game, and there's literally no voice acting in like opening scene. Like we're talking about like opening story sequences, and there's not even voice acting in that. That seems like super strange in budget, right? Which has me a little worried. And you have good looking cutscenes, right? Because Ni no Kuni looks good, right? And you have two main characters talking to each other, but instead of saying the words on the screen, they just go like, oh, hey, kind of like in Fire Emblem where they just say like one word and then you read something different. It's like, come on, dude. Like this was birthed out of like, what if Studio Ghibli like made a JRPG and it was going to be beautiful and wonderful and majestic and it was going to take down fucking Dragon Quest and stuff and win over Japan, and like, what is this shit? No voice acting? This is the intro scene, man. It just seems super fucked. My fuck you this week goes to Konami, and not just in general. Specifically for, I'm going to give them a fuck you because, Metal Gear Survive bombed. It bombed quite heavily, actually.
Have you seen the MPDs in Japan? It was number 3.
Dude, do you look at the numbers for stuff released in Japan?
I'm just saying.
Like, you could be number 3 with like 5,000 copies sold.
Oh.
Well, they did 31,000, but still. That's
shit. It's bad news for Konami and their IP, because if Metal Gear goes the way of hey, Konami's not going to do anything with it, then it's going to end up like all their other IP. Konami's not going to die because it has their health clubs, it has their pachinko parlors. They can stay in business and keep that IP, keep other people from developing that IP. So don't cheer that Metal Gear Survive has failed, because that's not good. We don't get Castlevania games. We don't get Suikoden games. We don't get like fucking Contra games. Or
God damn it!
Konami.
You keep skipping. This is the second time you've listed Konami games and you've skipped Silent Hill. You son of a bitch.
But okay, Silent Hill. I was listing off Konami games. The point is like I just want just farm it out. Give it to a third-party studio. It'll never be a Kojima game, but who cares? Better alive than dead. This is sad.
I would sever my pinky finger and send it to Konami if they would just give Silent Hill to another studio and just let them do what they want.
Sorry, that's not happening, Frodo.
Shut up.
You're right.
And my thank you for this week goes to Chris Davis. Thank you, Chris Davis, for whatever reason not paying attention at all to the top 10 list that you you did pulled
Oh,
for.
fuck you.
You you
Piece
put
of
together, you edited, you record audio with the rest of the guys. I don't know how. I mean, PUBG was your game of the year, yet you completely forgot that it was originally on this community top 10.
Because I did all the math, and then it took us forever to work on everything else. So
You're
I
like a
focused on
buffoon.
that.
I will say this.
I'm just so glad I went in there before anyone and changed it to Hollow Knight, because these guys were like, of course Hollow Knight would be on that list, right?
Yep.
Next year,
I was mad it was only number 10.
Yeah, that is. I was mad that it's not on the list.
You get permission to see the list. You don't get to edit it next year.
It's super funny.
You can make that a non-editable document.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah,
So I thought
man.
I didn't expect somebody to
Brad
on
tainted
staff
the sanctity of the
fuck
list.
up the integrity of the system.
Well, that's okay.
No, y'all tainted the sanctity by putting PUBG on there and not Hollow Knight.
Hey, we tainted the sanctity of the video by doing that
No, that was good.
video in that style that we did it.
But it's just funny because you double memed him and you didn't even realize.
Yep.
Yeah.
You done, Brad?
It's fucking
All right, my
bullshit.
4-player net starts now. My hype is also for pit people. I completely forgot about that game until I was reminded in Discord like today. But yes, very excited for that. My sweat is for this weekend. I have to go to Houston for like an engagement party and like other stuff, and it's just I want to play. I just.
What do you want to play, Nolan?
What do you think I want to play, Nick? I want to play Into the Breach
With yourself.
and I can't bring it with me. I don't have like a laptop.
Wouldn't
I can
that be
bring.
nice if it was on Switch?
Yeah, that would be lovely. My thank you goes to Subset Games for releasing Into the Breach. It's been so long since FTL came out. I've played FTL on like 5 different platforms. I'm excited to spend dozens and dozens, if not 100 hours on this game, just exploring everything it has to offer. And my fuck you kind of goes to myself. If you're typing on a computer keyboard, you type words, but sometimes your fingers will be off like one set of keys, and you'll start. And the word test. If your finger is off by one set of keys, the ES becomes WA, and so the word test becomes twat. And that was happening when I was typing some stuff today at work.
Oh, did you call someone a twat?
So, no, thankfully, like it was to someone who doesn't matter.
You typed out twat, you hit send, and you're like, no!
Yeah. But yes. So yeah. But thankfully,
You got a poor score on your twat. Is that what you texted someone?
it's
today?
more of I finished running the twat.
Oh.
Yeah.
Those both make sense,
Yep.
Yeah.
I think.
All right, that's it.
Chris Davis?
All right, my hype this week is for the Super NT, because Brad and I were having a conversation on Discord the other day about it. We were really talking about just retro gaming in general, and he was desperately trying to convince me to buy a CRT and buy old hardware.
No,
and
I
like,
was not convincing
You
you.
were
to
trying
buy
to
a
do
CRT.
that.
All I was saying was there's an alternative out there, and it's like,
So
way cheaper and
in
gives
the
you
middle
more
of this
options.
conversation, I was like, I'm not having this, and I literally went to the analog website and bought a Super NT. So that should be arriving.
That's the
hopefully
purchase
next
you were
week.
teasing earlier?
Yeah.
Finally, you can play your Super Nintendo game.
Yeah, I can play my Super Nintendo games at 1080p, which is pretty fucking cool.
You people are weird.
Hey, whatever.
I'm just teasing. Whatever.
Don't really have a sweat this week.
You're worried about how much time you'll have to play the Division?
Well, more Metal Gear actually, but that's beside the point. Because I may actually end up playing the Division this month because
Oh
there's stuff
my
going
god.
on. I guess I'm not thankful for anything.
What a dick.
I just don't feel. I'm thankful for Butters existing because
Until he eats your burrito, I can't wait.
He hasn't eaten a burrito yet.
I'm counting the days. You bring a burrito next week.
No,
He's not allowed to eat people food.
good.
That doesn't mean he won't do it.
Probably. But don't give it to him.
And my fuck you will eventually be to Butters when he eats my burrito. So there you go.
He heard burrito.
I think he heard Butters.
Oh, probably so.
Speaking of,
Wait, was that it? Was that your 4-player minute?
that's
Yeah.
pretty much it. Yeah.
Oh, look, here comes Butters again.
Butters.
All right. My thank you this week goes to Brad for being on the show at such short notice.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
Didn't realize we were down three people this week, and
You
you
were down 3 people?
technically we were if we included you, and then you said, "Oh, I can be on the show," so you came. So thank you for doing that. My hype this week goes to, strangely enough, I have this itch to play Red Dead Redemption again, and I'm like,
It's a pretty good game.
as soon as I finish Subnautica, that's gonna kind of be my side chick for a while, playing Red Dead Redemption, and I'm really looking forward to diving back into that game, because I haven't played it in a few years.
Try to play some God of War before God of War?
I feel like those games are different enough from what God of War is becoming with this new one that I don't really feel the need to play the other ones again. Not to mention, I never really enjoyed those. I mean, I enjoyed them.
Canon, I think.
Yeah, I kind of enjoy God of War in the same way some people say they enjoy Call of Duty, right? It's like, it's a good campaign. I like it. Whatever. I know that's sorry. That might be a little harsh. I like Call of Duty more. I like God of War more than Call of Duty, certainly. But I don't know. I'm looking forward to the new God of War, but I don't really feel the need to go back. My sweat is my expedition in Subnautica that I was talking about earlier. I have planned it meticulously. I've executed about 40% of it, but I'm at the point now where I now have to navigate this giant sub through this really tight cavern, and there's a leviathan down there, and it's just, that shit's really nerve-wracking. What?
Was that a sex innuendo?
Look, I made a comment about trying to navigate this huge sub through this tight cavern while avoiding the leviathan, and people were talking about
No.
we're talking about Subnautica?
No. Small sub, gaping cavern. That's what you said. That's what you said.
Is that?
Yes.
Is that what I said?
Yes.
So yeah, I'm a little worried about pulling that off. Sorry, this just keeps sounding dirtier and dirtier. But I'm also looking forward to doing that. My fuck you of the week goes to Brad for making me want to play Monster Hunter even more. I really don't want to play another game that's going to get me addicted right now. Subnautica has me by the balls.
And then you have 5 other games that you
And I have 5 other games I need to get back to playing. Mass Effect Andromeda, Hollow Knight, Persona 5. All of these games. I'm probably going to focus on Hollow Knight first thing after I finish Subnautica. But I've got a lot of shit on my plate. So fuck you for making me wanting to play Monster Hunter, because it's been kind of on the edge of my brain for a while.
Do you know any people who also kind of want to play it? That would be a good game. That
aren't sitting in this room.
Well,
no.
I'm saying if you're going to play it, I recommend finding another person or a couple more people to play it with, but not
I don't think I'm
not people who've mastered the shit already.
Yeah.
Unless there are anybody,
I feel like that would be
unless there's some
problematic.
people in the community that have not yet started that want to play it.
That's a good idea.
I can't think of anybody in my personal life that I know.
Yeah.
That,
again, if you want to borrow my copy.
He won't play with you.
I don't.
But you
I
can
don't play borrowed things, sir.
Really?
Yeah, I'm weird like that. I'm sorry.
Okay.
But I appreciate the offer. Maybe I'll take you up on it. We'll see.
If I sold it to you, would you feel better about it?
Yeah, actually, I probably would.
Sure.
I'm weird that way.
I'll give it to you for $20.
What?
What?
Why would you do that?
You heard it here first. He said it.
What, for $20?
It's worth way more than that.
It's worth at least 22.
I offered him Shadow of the Colossus for $20.
What is wrong with you?
He's not a greedy man.
I'm not an asshole.
Well, offer me something. and we'll see if you're an asshole. We'll see if you're an asshole.
You haven't earned it.
I'll give you this dick for $20.
That was so funny.
$20 is $20.
Oh my god. Well, offer me something. All right, we need to wrap this up, guys. Thank you so much for listening. If you have not yet, please join our Discord. It's out there. It's free, available to anybody who wants to join the community. Discord.gg/4Player is where you'll find it. Of course, you can find all of our podcasts and whatnot at 4playernetwork.com. You can also leave feedback on anything we discussed tonight there, and we'll read it at the start of the next show. And you can catch us live. We stream every single night over at 4pp.tv. So, yeah, do that. Brad, thanks for being on. We'll see you again in a few weeks or whenever you're on next.
Whenever.
The wife will let you out.
Yeah. So, thanks again for listening. We will catch you guys next Thursday night for another episode at 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Good night.
Bye, guys.